Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Do you think the top part of a mermaid also tastes like fish, or would it actually be red meat?
I think it kind of blends toward the waist, like in the middle you get like a nice cut of both.
Wouldn't the top half of the mermaid be white meat?
No,
Are people white meat?
No, we're red meat, John.
The breasts! The breasts!
Oh, those.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Winter storm warning continues Friday with snow, wind, and extreme cold. Expect an additional 2 to 4 inches to accumulate through the early afternoon, bringing storm totals in the metro closer to 7 to 10 inches. Northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour will cause near whiteout conditions and blowing snow concerns into the evening. Highs in the single digits with wind chills 10 to 20 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dreamtime Saving Traffic Center. No accidents to report, but we'll update you throughout the morning. If you're headed southbound on JFK, there is a disabled vehicle blocking the left lane at Chandler Road. Expect blowing snow and dangerous wind chills if you have to make a morning commute. My advice is to stay away from the side streets and expect slow traffic on the interstate and highways. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. After 24 seasons and a record 6 Super Bowl titles, Bill Belichick is leaving the Patriots. Thursday morning, the coach and the team announced they have mutually agreed to part ways, ending the most decorated partnership in NFL history.
I'll always be a Patriot. I look forward to coming back here, but at this time, we're gonna move on, and I look forward, excited for the future. But always very, very appreciative of the opportunity here, the support here, and what Robert, what you've done for me.
Tom Brady also weighing in on his longtime coach, saying in part, quote, "I could never have been the player I was without you, Coach Belichick. I'm forever grateful, and I wish you the best of luck in whatever you choose next." This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast. With a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-O.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of...
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. They have all your favorite bets, and right now, every day that there is an NFL playoff game, FanDuel is giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay. John, of course, that means combine some bets for an even bigger payday, and you'll get bonus bets back if your same-game parlay does not win. All you got to do is go to FanDuel.com/1620.
So if you like the Rams, for example, and you like Matthew Stafford to go over 1.5 touchdowns, and you like Kyron Williams to clear over 100 yards on the ground, all it takes is a 3-leg same-game parlay, and if yours doesn't hit, that's fine. You can get bonus bets back if it doesn't win. But if it does hit, you're going to win with FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus in present in Iowa. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets would expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
I wish I could get this stupid jar open. Jars can be tough, am I right? Who are you? And how'd you get in my kitchen?
It's me, Flo, and I'm here to grant your wish of easily switching to Progressive and helping you get a discount that honors the time spent with your previous insurer.
Great, but what does that have to do with getting this jar open?
Nothing.
So you can't open this?
Oh, I just do insurance. Jars, I leave to the professionals.
Sign up for Progressive and opt into more savings. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
The world's on fire. Attacks in the Middle East. Ukraine and Russia at war. And right here, Joe Biden has created a dangerous threat to every American. Biden's open border policies have opened the floodgates to a record number streaming in, 12,000 in one day alone. This means increased terrorist threats and even more deadly fentanyl being delivered to our neighborhoods. President Trump will change that. He'll secure our borders by building even more wall. He'll end visitors from terrorist countries being allowed to enter. And Trump will treat the drug cartels the same as he treated terrorists who kill Americans. President Trump, the strength to protect our borders and our families.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024, Inc.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope, and they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
1620 The Zone.
Why are we doing this?
Warm thoughts.
No. Let's lean into this. Let's
Okay,
go
okay.
in that we are based in the Midwest, where we've been lucky enough not to have normal winters around here like we had when we were kids.
And he had to walk 7 miles uphill through a blizzard just to get to that one-room schoolhouse. No, we don't need this. I know. I just tweeted at Marty Cordero, wondering how many days till opening day at Winter Park.
Yep.
But good Friday morning, everybody. Welcome in. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Jimmy here as well. I just want to tell you, I don't think that we pat ourselves on the back enough. We're going to do this today.
Okay.
First and foremost, you ready? Okay, just checking over there. If you don't have to be out, I do not advise it. The roads are not great. The snow is picked up.
They can't keep up.
This is real. The dry slot has moistured up.
Yeah.
So
the Yoma Dome has collapsed.
But I walked in here, and so I didn't know that I'd be able to get out of my neighborhood because I didn't hear any plows or anything like that. So I thought, okay, we're going to try this, and we'll see how far we get.
Yeah.
I have the shortest commute of you two. And I thought, okay, we'll see how far we get, but I might have to turn around. I might be doing it from the home office this morning. And then the further I went, the roads weren't bad. I was like 1 or 2 cars out on the road, and I'm like, oh, okay. The snow's starting to pile up, but the vehicle is making it. I pull into the parking lot here at 50th and Dodge, and I have to admit, boys, I am surprised. Almost everybody, well, I think everybody that is supposed to be on air in this building.
Yeah, they're here.
Because we have, 4 radio stations that are live in the morning? Is that right?
Yes.
And we have traffic, and we have a couple of auxiliary people that are in the building as well.
Yep.
Everybody is here. Now, if you don't have to be out, don't go out.
Yeah.
And when we could all do our shows from home.
Yeah.
And the music stations, they voice track, and hell, they voice track, so their weekend is already done. But man,
come on, don't tell
good
me.
on NRG. Oh, that's
it's like saying Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah. I used to voice track. I used to be on Froggy 98 in Lincoln. I would voice track, and I'd have like 7 to midnight.
Yeah.
And I'd be doing a basketball game at the same time.
Yeah, people are like, wait a minute, I just listened to you on the other radio station.
So kudos to our brothers in arms in the building for making it in this morning. For the rest of you, don't be like us. Yeah. If you don't have to be out, stay at home, listen, watch, all you 1620 zoners, and watch the snow fall, because it is kind of pretty.
Oh,
am I too old to say that?
No,
Still prefer it on the Weather Channel
because it's coming down and it's making a noise.
Yeah, we don't. At least for the next 4 hours, we don't have to be annoyed by it because we're here. I mean, this is what we're doing. It's when we have to drive in. That's when we can get annoyed. And that's when, if you say things like the snow is pretty, I would get really, really upset. But right now, yeah, I mean, this is where we are. I mean, we're locked in. We're here.
If you're stuck as we speak right now, you're probably not thinking.
Yeah, you're probably not saying it's.
But
pretty.
good morning. Thanks for listening.
Schools are
if you
closed.
need help, let us know.
Nice 3. No. Because people will take us up on it and be like, hey, I heard Jimmy's got a SUV. Can he come?
No.
Me up?
You know our boss. He's making trips. Okay, we can just send him out.
Yeah,
he's got a Jeep.
He told me. I said, what are the chances that we're able to get out of this parking lot at 10 o'clock? And he goes, I got my tow rope.
He's ready to go.
I'm like,
he's excited.
I'm good. Okay, I'm good. I don't need that. I just want to get out of the parking lot when the show is over.
I think there's a little extra adrenaline going on with David today because he's on call. He's on standby. He's got he gets to flex with the Jeep right now, so he's pumped.
I'm helping out a buddy push snow, and he is like psyched at like 4 o'clock this morning.
Have you done this before?
Yeah, I did it the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that your first time?
No, I helped him. I helped him last year.
Wow, look at you.
Man,
what don't you do?
I'm gonna have a side business. They make a lot of money.
Oh, and they will today.
Yeah. He's like, hey, these are the 2 industrial parking lots you've got to do.
Yeah.
When you get done, come back here with the truck and we'll take care of you. I did. Gave me cash. I was like, that was kind of fun.
Nice.
All by myself. No one was around. I could like spin out in the parking lot. It was kind of cool.
Do donuts.
But I was pushing snow and trying to build a mound. So if you happen to work in this industrial park down in Bellevue, that mound of snow, that was me.
What kind of vehicle do you get?
Just a regular pickup.
Okay.
Now it's a big time pickup where I'm not getting stuck. I got a big old blade on the front of it.
So you feel
I put the blade down. I did learn though that there are times where you're supposed to pull up the blade. Yeah, that's probably created some sparks.
So I cautiously go into like when I see like the drifts, saw a lot of them on the way here today. So you don't cautiously go into those with this truck. You're like bring it on.
Yeah, well, I can't.
You call that a drift?
Because he's listening. I don't want to tell him what I was messing around doing the other day because there was nobody around in his truck. Because it's a pretty expensive piece of equipment that he has.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you don't have to be out, I mean, the schools, kids, you got 3 days off this week.
A lot of snow
How about
football.
that? Yeah.
Is today is it a remote learning day for a lot of people?
Some schools have a remote learning day. Others are just off. And I believe that a lot of schools are off on Monday.
Oh, yeah. Martin Luther King Day. You're right.
So,
man, what a way back for the new year.
You know what? Just
earlier this
stay
week.
at home the rest of your career.
Because what was it? Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, and then so they're back at school Wednesday, Thursday.
2-day week.
And then, 2-day week. You get now a 4-day weekend.
That's how it should be.
My goodness.
The zoo is even closed.
Penguins are probably happy. Polar bears.
There was a time when I was growing up.
I don't think they let them roam in the zoo when it's closed and it's wintertime.
That would be kind of cool, though. They just open it up, just let them stretch things out.
Clean up after yourself.
When I was in high school, we knew it was bad when UNO and Creighton, usually UNO, but Creighton as well, if they closed, because again, you didn't really have the remote learning going on. You didn't have even really a lot of online classes. And so if they closed down campus, it was a huge deal. Now it's like, they're like one of the first ones to close anymore.
Yeah, they can close. So I had this discussion last night, the basketball game. They're in the J term, like the Nebraska system is.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of people on campus, even though the dorms are open. And now dorms, most places are year-round anyhow. It's not that big of a deal because they don't go back until the 22nd.
Yeah.
But they have canceled school for today. But we have not canceled 1620 The Zone. We are here for you on a Football Friday Fiesta, a feel-good Friday. But the zoo is closed. There's other places that are closed. And in all honesty, as we're having, our adventures of getting here, if you don't have to be out, just stay at home.
No,
it's okay to take off today because you got to prepare yourself. Because once this crap is done, you're going to be cold.
Yeah, we get some day after tomorrow.
It is going to be so cold.
Yeah, very, very good reference there.
What happened to our regular winters?
Yeah.
We're making up for it.
This actually is BS.
We're making up for it.
Okay. I'm used to, I'll take 25 degrees, but I don't need snow.
Right.
I'm okay looking at the grass in January.
I love it. Love it. I absolutely love it. I love being able to walk on the grass. Like, if you're taking the trash out or something, hearing the crunch because it's just frozen, but it's grass. I can feel the grass.
I told you to play golf when it was 50 degrees around Christmas, and that's why.
We did. And I remember last year in January, we played at Tiburon in January. That ain't happening this year.
Yeah, you won't. It won't be gone by.
You could.
Well, I mean,
take that orange.
I mean, you never say never, but it wouldn't be the ideal conditions.
Yeah, I heard in Fargo that's a thing, orange golf balls, and I get it now.
Yeah.
Another thing that is triggering me about the winter, and here I am, just let me whine, please.
Please do.
Is so North Dakota played here in town last night against Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Ralston is their play-by-play guy. I've known Paul for a long time. And I was saying, hey, I said, sorry about the weather. And he goes, you know what? You guys are having a worse winter than Grand Forks.
What?
He goes, we haven't had like a lot of snow. We're getting like 35-degree days.
Oh,
so
that cuts in.
We got here on Wednesday and we're like, whoa, they got a lot more snow than we have in Grand Forks. And I'm like, you know what? I hope we beat you by 18.
Hey.
And they beat him by 18.
You did.
No, I did not say that to him.
No, remember that when it snows there in May.
So, because hockey's up in Grand Forks this weekend.
Schreiner was there last night.
They're actually going to, and Schreiner was there. They're actually going to be up there and be like, this is nice. How many times can you say that going up north to Grand Forks during January and be like, man, it's a lot nicer up here than it is in Omaha?
Well, it's usually pretty wild when you fly into Grand Forks and you get out of the airplane to walk into the terminal. There's usually like 3 feet of snow and it's piled up and it's like
Rocky Ford.
It's like the tundra. You think you're in Siberia when you land in Grand Forks. When he said that last night, I'm like, oh, okay. But have you heard about the Omaha Dome? And then I tried to explain the dry slot to him and it just got complicated.
Yeah.
So we just talked about certain players in
the It hung in there for a little bit last night and then it finally collapsed.
All right. Weather talk cease except when we get to the Kansas City, Miami, or the Buffalo, Pittsburgh game.
Yes.
What was quick thing on that? What was the rumor online yesterday? They were going to move that game to Cleveland?
What?
So there was some wild rumor that because of the weather in Buffalo, they were going to move the game to Cleveland.
Tropical Cleveland?
Have you not been to Buffalo?
Yeah.
That's Buffalo, which actually Buffalo is having a mild winter as well. So you're going to have two really, really cold weather sites.
Mm-hmm.
The Kansas City Miami game tomorrow night's going to be miserable.
Just saw Sunday's forecast.
Absolutely miserable. And
3 to 5 inches of snow expected.
You get the
snow
lake effect
and
snow,
wind
though.
and a high of 23.
Yeah.
So the cold won't be that bad.
See, 3
It'll
to
be
5
a dry heat.
3 to 5 inches though. If you start getting a little bit of that lake effect there too, and it starts really piling up, ooh, that's fun. That's fun.
Hey, this is playoff
'Cause
football.
it happens
in Buffalo.
fast.
This is what they want.
It's like from the beginning of the first quarter to the end of the first quarter, like you could literally see like 3 inches of snow just like right there.
All right, super wild card weekend we will discuss. And by the way, if you'd like to compete against us, everybody that's on the zone, you can go to 1620thezone.com. We have a pro football playoff pick'em that you can try and pick against us. And there is a prize at the end of the rainbow for all of our 1620 zoners. Hey, I saw this little tricky thing. So everybody knows by now. If you don't, I'm about to tell you. The Kansas City-Miami game is on Peacock.
Yeah.
So it's behind a paywall. It's streaming. It's the future. Embrace it. It's called digital. Did you see what NBC is doing with their programming on Saturday night? So the kickoff is a little bit like, 7:15 at Arrowhead?
Yeah.
There's going to be people that will go to NBC to try and find the game.
They showing Heidi?
No. Who shows Heidi anyway? How old are you? You got such an old soul. They are doing the pregame show on NBC.
Oh, that's going to tease you.
What the hell?
At 6:30, they're going to have the pregame show, and then they're going to go right to Deal or No Deal Paradise Island. So you're going to get the pregame, and then they're going to tell you, go to Peacock. And it's just going to trigger so many people.
Yeah. Please tell me they're going to come back at halftime and do a halftime show on NBC.
I have no idea, but I think it's, man,
Deal or No Deal.
That's a little bit, that's a
stupid.
bit douche canoe doing a pregame show on NBC. And then while you're showing your announcers from Arrowhead and everything that's going on, then at the top of the hour, you're like, we're out. Go to Peacock, download it, pay your $5.99.
That is the biggest Richard move. Like this is, I'm right there with you when it comes to the streaming services occupy now some of the games that we watch, whether it's NFL or college sports. It just is what it is. Okay. I mean, that's just the times we're in right now. But at least have a heart if you're doing this. If we're going to do the whole playoff on the actual stream, but then we're going to do, hey, but if you tune in NBC, they go, it's an NBC night game, and you're watching that, and all of a sudden, okay, time to get over to Peacock. Like, that's a total Richard move.
Hey, Jimmy, you're watching the TV here in studio. So
Where
every
are those
TV
three
station in town has reporters that are out on the road.
Yeah, now they can flip the cameras over, too. It's pretty neat.
Does it not look like whoever's driving that Channel 6 vehicle is flying?
Yeah.
So they're driving, that looks like off of 144th on I-80. That person driving so it's not the reporter, they're in the passenger seat. Whoever was driving that vehicle for Channel 6, they were hauling.
I picture it's like
Marshawn
Lynch.
Did you see the road there? The road was nice and cleared out.
Yeah, but they were
Good.
going like really, really fast.
It's a tease.
All right.
That's what. So I was watching a little bit of that last night on KTV, and Bill Shammer was doing it. I always wonder if when they go live, if whoever's driving, their cameraman, obviously, whoever's driving, make sure that they like are on their best behavior. They're like, okay. Now people are watching because we don't want even one person to be like, wow, that sounds like whoever's driving is reckless right
They're
now.
doing more in-car stuff. It used to
I've seen
be,
that.
let's send the reporter out by the silos off of 80 where you have the 80 as the backdrop and they go live while it's snowing and they look miserable. And
people
they're
are
like,
driving by and,
hey, Jerry, what's it like outside? And I want a reporter to go, hey, idiot, look behind me. I'm the low man on the totem pole. I'm out here. Instead, now they're putting them in vehicles.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up a little bit later, we'll talk about the NFL. Nebraska football had a good day yesterday. They've had a good offseason. They haven't hung the banner yet.
There's a T-shirt, though. I saw it yesterday online to buy.
It's Triple B. He's got the fully husked T-shirt. We're getting there.
No need to hang banners. Just let
we're getting there.
Let the actions speak for themselves.
The lineup brought to you by the referees of John Higgins Weather Guard, Mike Schaefer, Matt Verzal, Brian Edwards. All will join the show with a variety of thoughts on a multitude of things. You can always join the show. You want to complain about the weather. You want to give us an update on where you're at. They're now plowing our parking lot.
Morning, guys. Thanks for listening.
There they go.
You think they'll be triggered by the fact that everybody that parked in the front parking lot here at NRG just parked randomly wherever?
Yeah, I created a spot.
I couldn't see the lines.
I couldn't at all, so I just created a spot. And I went diagonal because I felt like that's how you're supposed to.
The 42-degree source hotline is the way to get in touch with the show, 951-1620. That's a free phone call that we'll pick up the toll on. I don't know if the 800 number works. Some of you have it, some of you don't. You can also email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Handley at 1620thezone.com.
Or on the J-Tex Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620.
At Nick Handley 1620.
You heard in the open, Nick Saban yesterday, age was an issue. It hit you that those college football coaches or Bill Belichick earlier in the day, they're actually real people. You may have never had any interaction with them, but they're real people. They have emotions. They're like us, that age becomes an issue. And good for Saban for being a real person and talking about that. But there's another element that I noticed yesterday in the difference between Saban and Belichick's exits and the discussion surrounding them. Still hard for me to believe that we have no Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, or Nick Saban. Now, 2 of the 3 could be back next year. Saban will not. But there's more to that, and maybe an announcement from Alabama today on who their next head coach will be.
No, it's not going to be.
No, that was a boss move. Hey, Big Ten, be very afraid. Be very afraid that a 37-year-old guy with swag and an attitude is staying in Eugene. This is a guy that fits those bills. He's just a little bit older than 37. Swag and an attitude. With a traffic update, here is Fremont Fred.
Fred!
Hey, good morning, ladies. How's it going?
Oh,
good. Why are we yelling? Are you? Hey, but first of all,
man.
hey, hold on. Are you?
Because I'm white knuckled.
Well, hold on here. Are you performing Safe Cell?
Of course I am. I'm Bluetoothing.
Oh, okay.
All right. I feel honored.
yeah,
I feel honored to be in your Bluetooth.
Oh, you're in my DM. Take that however you want.
Yeah, that's either good or bad depending on what day of the week it is.
Oh, well, it's Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
All right.
What is everybody bitching about the roads? I'm 30 minutes into my drive from Fremont just now on the interstate. It's not too bad. 275 was pretty good.
Okay. Where are you heading,
Get
though?
some of these.
What part?
I'm headed to, basically, let's call it Werner Park.
Okay.
Our office is over off 132nd.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm watching 2 dipshits, go through a meeting right now. Hey, had to do it.
Hey, Fred, this isn't the McAfee show.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. These guys just cut all the way through a median on the interstate.
Yeah.
Right off of 680.
Hey, you know another thing, and I don't know if I'm going to post the picture or not. I was behind a guy. This was Wednesday morning. Has a Porsche, so he's out like at 5:45 on Leavenworth. Whereas I'm seeing this more. People don't like brush off their back window.
No, no, they just hope that the wind will take care of it as they drive,
or it'll
They
melt
just
by
go.
CWS
Well,
time.
That's the thing. If your car is smaller than Shaquille O'Neal's shoe, you should not be out there.
Very true. If you're someone who has like a Mustang, a Porsche, a nice sports car, I'm hoping that you also have your winter car that you use.
I got a little bit nervous there. I'm not going to kid you. That when you started to say smaller than Shaquille O'Neal, I was not thinking about a shoe.
Yeah. Fred, you're already on a roll today.
Point does stand, though. You're not wrong.
Well, now the worst part is I've got to decide what time I'm going to actually go home, and it might be worse getting home than it is getting to work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone in, but that's you.
Well, I'm a trooper,
You
know
are.
how that goes. Somebody's got to lead the people, man.
Yeah,
I'm
and
here for the people.
you're a big deal at that company. Hey, thanks for the update.
You bet, boys. Be careful and have fun. And if you need anything, let me know. I'll be out and about.
All right. Thanks, Fred.
No problem.
Need some Pink Whitney.
Did we really get in a traffic update there, or was that just Fred who wanted to cuss on the air and just?
I mean, he did tell us to watch out for guys driving over the median.
I did feel like that was authentic. Like he didn't have that plan that he was going to say that, but it just happened in real time, and that was his initial reaction. So just give Fred credit for being himself.
Fred was just having a normal conversation like he does.
Yep.
Can we have Joey say, watch out for what's crossing the median?
Yeah.
And make sure to wear those seatbelts.
I mean, I feel like if you're going to try to pull that off, that type of diction, today's a good day for that. Just one of those days. You make it in, say what you want.
I really want to post this picture of the guy driving a Porsche. I mean, I'm sure it's a really, really nice car. First of all, why do you have it out? Like in Omaha,
Right.
Omaha would be tough to own a Porsche.
Yeah.
Because you got to deal with all the salt on the road. I'd leave that in the garage and bring it out when the weather is nice. Don't have to worry about anything. That guy's out driving yesterday or Wednesday, and he's in front of me at a stoplight. and there's no way you can see me. So I took a picture, and I'm thinking about posting it. And then coming home, there was another person that did not. They still had snow piled up on their windows, and they had just a sliver scraped off the front so they could see. And I'm like, we need a tutorial.
They're either in a hurry or very, very lazy.
A quick question. So the Saban sat down with Reese Davis for a 30-minute interview yesterday.
Future coworker.
Yes. I mean, that's where everything seems to be headed.
Can't wait to see Saban put on mascot.
Reese went as far as saying that, yeah.
But I noticed that the national guys. So I watched the Belichick stuff. I got home yesterday and flipped on the television because I wanted to watch McAfee, thinking that Aaron Rodgers would be on. And hey, lo and behold, Aaron Rodgers showed up yesterday.
And but Aaron Rodgers has been apparently that season has been canceled now.
No, that's McAfee said. McAfee did McAfee things. So Aaron Rodgers shows up, but I wanted to watch the beginning of the show because I thought they might have Saban on because they have Saban on as a weekly guest. And they had the Belichick Kraft very uncomfortable press conference. There is nothing about a mutual parting of ways between those two. There just is not. You can say everything you want. There's language. There was not a mutual parting of ways. But I found it interesting. There's a lot of Patriots that are in the media. Who has more people in the media? Former Nebraska football players or former New England Patriots? Whole question. But there was a lot of emotion. And then you, like the day before, you saw some former Alabama players that found their way onto television. They were not as emotional, but more like happy for Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of Patriot players yesterday from like Teddy Bruschi was breaking down on the emotion of Belichick leaving the Patriots. I thought that was interesting. And I don't know if it's a college to pro thing, but here's another thing. There were media that were extremely emotional about Belichick and 24 years with the Pats being over. Is that just a pro thing compared to a college thing? Because Reese Davis wasn't emotional. Brad Edwards on the show yesterday, he's an Alabama guy.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't emotional. It was like, man, I'm happy for Saban. But people are like sad with Belichick leaving.
Surprised there's not.
Well, and what's kind of funny too is you have one guy that's seemingly moving on from football in Nick Saban, and one guy who says he's just moving on and might find himself in Atlanta next year. It is interesting because you also kind of saw this coming during the season. We knew going into the season this was going to be a very important year.
It was predetermined.
Yeah,
Gerard Mayo was going to be the head coach next season, and I wonder if that was relayed internally, and you knew that the entire season. If Belichick knew that the entire season, just kind of his reactions.
Well, and
throughout the year.
The other part about, I think yesterday, and you get some emotion out of Bill Belichick as much as you're going to get, as much as he can kind of let on, and you could tell that it was emotional, but I think uncomfortable for him, and I'm kind of thinking about if there was some type of feeling amongst expatriates that the way his exit should have been, given 24 years and what he's given, should have been a lot better, should have been more on his terms. And I think that's the consensus is it wasn't. And so I think that's where a lot of the players are really kind of coming to bat, or at least feeling for him.
How many happy endings do you have?
Depends on the time of the year.
What are we talking about?
Happy endings.
I mean, you have somebody that won 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
How many times, and even a Saban, like you have a longtime employee, whether it be in sports or anything, that you have like a happy ending.
Yeah. Like you go out on your terms on top where you can't, you look back and you're like, I could not have done this or could not have planned this any better. Like I think of Peyton Manning after winning the Super Bowl over Carolina. That was the ultimate riding off in the sunset after glory. That's rare. I mean, that just is. And especially people like, I'll consider them two very similar people, and Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, guys that are so wired into the game that even if it seems obvious that, hey man, you probably don't have many years left and you just, finish off a hell of a season, maybe this is a good time. You can't, that doesn't process for them because they're addicted to the game. They're absolutely addicted to the game.
I was really surprised by the emotional response by people, not just his former players, but some in the media. I mean, the guy was a jerk. He's a GOAT in professional football, and he is a football savant, but he couldn't get there without being a jerk and being an autocrat. So there's a lot of us that say hood riddance to him. That struck me as the like emotion. Teddy Bruschi was breaking down, but then I think it was
Ninkovich on McAfee too.
Linda Cohn and Randy Scott leading into the Belichick crap. They like got really, really emotional.
Yeah.
Like, man.
From the media standpoint, it is kind of odd.
Did they get this emotional when Rod Rust was fired?
You know, of the three guys that left, or this week, and how would you like to be Michigan? The Michigan winning the national championship is not like even the top story this week.
No,
it's Saban. But of the three, like Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, and Bill Belichick, that leave their current jobs, like the one that I think I would get most emotional about is Pete Carroll. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong. I was taken back by the emotion of media yesterday talking about Belichick.
See, and I thought it would have been Saban. I thought Saban would kind of invoke that because, again, there's a retirement. There was sort of an abrupt retirement as well that I think emotion you could have had it in sort of various forms because, first and foremost, you want to make sure he's okay, that there wasn't anything that prompted that because of any type of physical issues going on. But also, when you think about how much he's meant to the game as it's changed, and that he's not going to be a part of it from the standpoint of coaching, where Pete Carroll is going to be in an advisor role. Pete Carroll, I think, I kind of see where you're coming from as far as Pete Carroll, just his way with people probably does connect a lot more with people. So yeah, I could see that because Saban and Belichick are very similar as far as their connections. Now, Saban, and we talked about this yesterday, he let it down a little bit the last couple of years where you saw him smiling a lot more. Belichick never really did that. But Pete Carroll, yeah, I think the connections, yeah. Okay, from that standpoint, I get it.
More likely. Now, I've been around Saban in East Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah. 95.
I don't know him, never interviewed him. We've interviewed his former players who've come on the air. Outside of watching Pete Carroll coach against Nebraska, don't know Pete Carroll. Belichick saw when he came in to work Nebraska coaches clinic, but any of those teams are not mine. I don't know them. But isn't it an interesting emotion how you get attached to a coach that you don't know and you've never met?
Yeah. And
are you more likely to become emotional about a coach or a player?
Ooh. Okay, if I'm rooting, if it's
depends on the coach.
Well, if it's for the team that I root for, and it's a guy like, for instance, I'll give you like Brian Urlacher. Urlacher's time in Chicago when that was done, that sucked. Like that was a guy that I grew up when watching him play, and always considered him a Chicago Bear. There was attachment. I think I went to 2 games that he played in. Never ever had the opportunity to like ever meet him or anything like that. But that was, I felt more of an emotional attachment to him as opposed to like when they fired like Lovie Smith. But we're talking about a coach that's been there for 24 years and a coach that I think even from the media standpoint, and we know this to be true, we're thirsting for it here. It's fun to cover a machine. It's fun to cover winning. Like even is.
Are you sure?
I think so. I think so. As mundane as sometimes it seems, because there was, we've talked about this before. There were times when you'd get the occasional loss, in the 90s or even early 2000s where it was a big deal. And so there was this sort of propensity to take winning for granted. But gosh dang, it's a lot more fun than covering a struggling program. And so I wonder, even with the way the media would cover Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, that there was that appreciation of, gosh, you just kind of knew what you were going to get week in and week out. And now who knows? What's Gerard Mayo going to be from a leader when it comes to that organization? Will it ever be the same? I mean, that's a fair question to ask. So whether the guy was great with the media or not, just being able to cover that type of success for so long, I think probably does create a lot of that reality of, yeah, it's over.
NFL playoffs this weekend. We'll discuss all the games, our favorites, the team you trust and don't trust the most, among other things. You got the lineup. Also, will Mike Norvell end up at Alabama just because Florida State was made an example? Ooh, that was quite interesting what the NCAA did yesterday to Florida State. Been a bad month for Florida State football. Nobody likes them.
Yep.
People may like them less when Mike Norvell leaves to go to Alabama. But they'll like him when Dion goes to Florida State.
Yeah, it's all set up for them. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming.
Mm-hmm. All right, off and running. Plus, big game tonight in Iowa City. It is on. And an even bigger moment in Lincoln tonight between Nebraska and Iowa wrestling. I just want you guys for a moment, as you dream the impossible dream. It's been a long time since Nebraska's beaten Iowa in a duel. It comes down to the last match. And the polar bear wins. And Nebraska beats Iowa in wrestling. We're storming the mats.
Yep.
We'll get into that because that's a huge, huge thing.
Salt
it's a
and
double
brine.
duel of Nebraska-Iowa tonight. Wrestling at 6:30 and then basketball at 8:30 tonight at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Nebraska off their win against Purdue is an underdog. Plus tomorrow at noon, Rick Pitino will stroll on the floor and people will go, wow.
And stomp.
Yeah. They'll be like, man, you and Nick Saban are very similar. At the statue of Nick Saban, they were putting down Little Debbie's and Coke. Isn't that Rick Pitino? Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
The Beatles come to life in Revolution, the music of the Beatles, a symphonic experience featuring the Omaha Symphony, January 20th and 21st at the Holland Center. Accompanied by hundreds of rare and unseen photos with stunning video and animation, Revolution takes audiences on a magical musical and visual journey with top performers and vocalists and the music you know and love. Tickets start at $20. Visit omahasymphony.org to get your tickets today before Revolution, the music of the Beatles, a symphonic experience, sells out.
Don't miss this week's Zone deal.
This week's half-off deal is Kops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Kops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Take your home to the next level with Level countertops, cabinets, and flooring. If you have a kitchen, bath, or closet that is completely dysfunctional, now is the time to make them functional. Level countertops, cabinets, and flooring is your expert for taking your home to the next level. The staff will listen to your needs and dreams and create a unique space specifically for you and your family. Visit the showroom at 192nd and West Maple or online at levelomaha.com. That's levelomaha.com.
I'm former Husker Terry Keneally. And I'm former Husker Titus Adams. Titus and I used to sack quarterbacks, but now we're fighting for the children of East Omaha. Terry and I are on the board of the Q's Fund, which supports the Q's school system, made up of Holy Name, All Saints, and Sacred Heart School, which I am a proud graduate of. Our students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. And they go on to graduate high school at a 96% rate. Learn more about our children at qschools.org.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, voice of Omaha men's basketball. The takeover of the Dakotas continues on Saturday night at Baxter Arena when the Omaha men's basketball team takes on the Bison of North Dakota State in a big Summit League showdown. 6:30 airtime on 1180 The Zone. Tip-off 7 o'clock.
I wish I could get this stupid jar open. Jars can be tough, am I right? Who are you? And how'd you get in my kitchen?
It's me, Flo, and I'm here to grant your wish of easily switching to Progressive and helping you get a discount that honors the time spent with your previous insurer.
Great, but what does that have to do with getting this jar open?
Nothing.
So you can't open this?
Oh, I just do insurance. Jars, I leave to the professionals.
Sign up for Progressive and opt into more savings. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back in. Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy. All you 16 zoners, as we do radio on a snow day. You don't have to be out. Please do not get out, because this is what it's turned into with the snow just falling like it's a rainstorm. They're trying to plow Dodge Street outside the studio here, and it's starting to be the plow where you just pile it in the middle of the road.
Ooh. Yeah, that's Midwest.
Hey, guys, did you see the email too, by the way? Our office has been closed, so we need to go home.
All right.
All right, have a good weekend.
Let's go finish the show at our respective
Pop up some
residence.
national. Let me hear some Brady Quinn.
two pros and a cup of Joe.
Hey, can I say it's ridiculous that Casey Thompson's still playing college football?
Yeah, I was trying to tell my wife last night, because I when I saw the news come across, I said, "Whoa," and she asked what I was talking about, and I told her about Casey Thompson. She goes, "Oh, that guy who played for Nebraska a while back," and I said, "Yeah, he's going to be like 27." It's like, why is he still in college? So that's a great question.
Living the dream.
So he'll be the only guy
as a backup,
probably ever in the history of college football to play for Texas, Oklahoma, and Nebraska.
Yeah.
Committed to Oklahoma yesterday. Check the student director at Nebraska. Let's see if he's still in there. It is ridiculous that he's going to play a 7th-year college football.
Yeah.
Casey, my man, I'm sure you're getting a little scratch.
Yep.
And
It's a legacy.
I know you're a business guy. Appreciate the 1 year at Nebraska. Man, get on with your life.
Yeah.
7 years in college. He's on the Gary Sharp plan, but I didn't play football.
Yeah. Or a doctor.
That's just way too much.
You better have
we
a
got to
PhD.
stop this, because he's not alone. Omaha played a team last week. They have a guy that's in his 6th year of playing college basketball. I mean, come on. Time to move on.
I agree.
But 7 years.
Yeah.
I hope he gets a shot to get on the field. It'd be kind of cool. But my man, there's a thing called life. It's okay. Embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of college. You don't have to play football your entire life. And he's not going to get a shot to play pro football.
Right.
I got to imagine that coming back from that knee injury, he gets a chance to go basically home. I mean, go to his dad's alma mater, and that'll be a storyline that you'll hear about a lot. And it's cool with Dad Charles, but 7 years, Casey?
Yeah. And then Bowman at OSU, he said he was
got
coming
a
back
7th year.
Yep.
They're all on the Jordan Shipley plan.
Damn COVID. You can't keep track of it.
I know, and you never. Yeah, you're like, oh, okay. I guess
I
brought
brought
that's
up
right.
yesterday. It's a fruitless exercise to try and figure out Nebraska's 85.
Yeah.
And Nebraska just keeps adding players, and you're like, well, who's going to be disappointed on May 1?
Yeah.
I don't care. 85 is just a number that is thrown out there.
Mm-hmm.
I just am concerned about the all 22 against UTEP.
Yep. I can't wait till we get to a point where when someone's a junior, they're actually a junior from an eligibility standpoint. When someone is a sophomore or a redshirt freshman, like, we can get back to where we understand the class that they're in. And then, yes, okay, the occasional medical redshirt, okay, that's fine. So they might get a 6th year. But it's the 7-year thing. And that's the other part you bring up about Casey. He's not going to play at the next level, and you're not going someplace to start either. And I get it. Like, Charles, he's a legacy, so that's probably kind of cool. But coming back from that knee injury and not being in a role where you're going to be mightily impacting that off, it's just it's odd to me. But I'm not him, and if you know that, hey, this is it, regardless, and I want to end it where my father played, who am I to say that it's bad decision on his part? It's weird though. And I would just think, if you're nearing 30, you're beyond your mid-20s, and you're still giving this thing a shot, man. I just, very, very interesting. Would love to get in the mind of Casey Thompson.
So take him off the board of Nebraska, adding a veteran.
Someone asked as early as Monday if there was any Casey.
That was
news.
never going to happen.
We've had people on the stream asking.
Yeah.
I don't. You guys know why he departed. And it wasn't because of Rule, and he picked Jeff Sims. It was the right decision for him. Mm-hmm. He wasn't coming back. He was only in town to rehab, but he knows how to play the game. He got everybody fired up, and people were speculating that he was going to come here. Now, in the true honesty, Nebraska still needs a quarterback. Of all the guys they've added, and they've added impact players and guys that will be starters out of the portal, Matt Rule might be an unsexy portal king. Because nationally, a
Lane
Banks
Kiffin.
and a Thompson and a Naor and a Dowdell and a Mazuka, they're not going to register as top portal guys like a Fleming would have or a McCord, but they register because they fit at Nebraska, and he's adapted to the portal, but playing the portal to benefit Nebraska, not just go after the hot prospect. They still need to do something with their quarterback room. I got a little intel. So this is something to watch. The silly season of college football where, let's say, Mike Norvell, who, interesting enough, was MIA yesterday in Tallahassee. Guy told me that is involved with Florida State. Usually Mike Norvell is the first guy in the building.
Yeah.
And he's a great communicator. Everybody knows what's going on. Norvell wasn't there yesterday.
Was he zooming with Tuscaloosa?
Well, he might have been NCAA.
Or that.
But he
have a meeting in Destin.
It appears that it's Norvell, DeBoer, and Tommy Reese. Oh, geez. Can you get to the Alabama message boards and Feinbaum show that Tommy Reese is more than just a passing candidate? Oh, man, there'll be so many people that'll be cheering in the SEC. Even Vanderbilt would be like, we got this.
Yeah, all right.
Those guys chanting not Dabo.
There's life. But, there's dominoes to be had here. I got it in the Equitable Bank inbox yesterday. Do you think that James Franklin stuff is real? Because Franklin's Vegas odds for the Alabama job started to improve as the day went along. And we all know that if the Penn State job opens, there's going to be a lot of connecting of dots to the guy that's in Lincoln. Athletic director at Penn State, former Penn State Nittany Lion, Big Ten coach, on and on and on.
Yeah.
So I got that as like, man, Franklin is starting to move up. But it looks like they're down to 3 candidates, and I think Mike Norvell is a great fit.
Yep.
And he may want to run away from Florida State because they've earned a bad stretch of not making the playoff, and then the NCAA violations yesterday that were handed down. Here's another thing. How ironic would it be? Alabama essentially kept Florida State out of the playoff, and Florida State's head coach ends up in Tuscaloosa.
Just finish them off.
But the domino,
you're right.
But I was kind of and not kind of joking in the last segment about Dion.
No, I'm with you. I agree.
So let's say that transpires. Lanning would have been a good fit. Boss move. Be afraid in the Big Ten that Lanning is staying at Oregon. Good decision at the end of the day. But if he would have taken it, I would have said, good on you, because it's a lifetime opportunity to go to Alabama, be in the SEC, and be the not Nick and try and continue what they're doing there. So let's say Norvell becomes the hot guy and it moves along quickly and before the weekend is over, because I think they have to have a coach in place here sooner than later. It is him. Florida State opens. Isn't Florida State's first phone call to Boulder?
Yeah. Before they start poaching your players, bring him, poach him.
Yeah.
You just went, Norvell walks into Tallahassee and, hey, Bobby Bowden, Jimbo Fisher, that was not good. Then they made a mistake with Taggart. They're trying to have that one good decision that erases a couple of bad mistakes. They got that with Norvell. He walked in. Man, there were guys leaving right and left. People are like, you're not an FSU guy. This is not going to be good. Won 3, then he won 5, then he won 10, and then he was on the cusp of the playoff with a 13-1 season.
Yep.
Do it.
So Florida State can't afford to go back because, remember, Florida State's trying to make themselves more appealing to the SEC or the Big Ten. They're not staying around in the ACC. Your first call has to be to Boulder, right?
It would. And
so they got dominoes that ultimately would impact Nebraska.
Right.
Because would Shadur stay in Boulder if his dad wasn't the head coach? Now, this is all speculation, but if a Florida State job is open, I think that's got to be your first phone call. If it's okay that he was not your first phone call the last time when Norvell got the job.
And see, this reminds me exactly of Scott Frost, of when they went after Mike Riley. There was still talk about, hey, Scott Frost, what he's doing in Oregon, maybe that would be a good time to, tap into a young, unproven head coach. And they didn't. And I think I thought that was smart. To be perfectly honest, I thought not having head coaching experience in that job, even if you're familiar with Nebraska, you still probably wanted someone who had ran a program for at least a few years. So it's all about timing. Dion, not quite at the FBS level there yet. And then you now fast forward to, very similar to, okay, now there's an opening again, and we have the guy that we were interested in he's now had at least 1 year of running a Power 5 program, and we saw a lot of good out of the first month of it. We know that he can attract a lot of a talent. He attracts just about every headline, and it's about time Florida State got some positive headlines too. I think you would have to. That would have to be number one on your list right now for the simple fact of, and here's the other question we asked: once Shedeur is out of college, what's Dion's interest level going to be at Colorado? Well, I always think if there was that one job that would be Dion's for more than a short stint, it would be Florida State. It'd be his alma mater. So it would just make too much sense. And I'm sorry, Colorado fan. I really am.
Morning, Josh.
I don't think Dion feels some obligation to Boulder right now, or some demanding tie that would, you know what, I can't leave these guys with what we started here, because he started something, he's tearing it back down, and he's trying to bring in a new roster.
Hey, bizarro world. Alabama keeps Florida State out of the playoff. Alabama gets Florida State's coach. Dion Sanders flips Travis Hunter from Florida State to Jackson State, and then he comes in, ends his career at Florida State.
And then brings Travis Hunter with him too. And Shedeur.
I love this sport.
I love it. Let's do it.
I absolutely love college football.
I would be bummed though, because I do want to see the Sanders in Lincoln next year.
Well,
or this year, I guess now.
All part of the love of college football. Lane Kiffin's troll job, man.
A+.
The Lane train. Hello. Hey, did you see his picture yesterday?
No, I didn't see the picture yesterday.
He's been on a roll.
He took a picture of the Oxford Airport.
Oh,
and it gets 544 replies.
And
read through some of them. They are gold, Jerry. They are gold.
And probably 544 more shekels at some denomination in his account too because of it. Unbelievable.
Jimmy's got an update coming up here in a little bit. Weird night in the NBA last night. So bad the Boston-Milwaukee game, TNT got off of that one. They couldn't go to Oklahoma City, Portland, because Oklahoma City.
My God.
Hey, I am on team Light the Beam, and we got our issues we got to work through in Sacramento. I got to talk to Mike Brown. Oklahoma City's for real, and a race for the number one seed in the West.
Whoa.
Dang, they're fun to watch.
If you didn't know.
They blew out Portland last night, but who doesn't? Weird night in the NBA, a lot of blowouts. Basketball on the horizon, Nebraska at Iowa tonight. Huskers are about a 3.5-point underdog. Not a surprise. On the road, where things are a little bit different on the road in the Big Ten, as one coach once told me. Also, we have Nebraska-Iowa wrestling, some cancellations, and NFL Super Wildcard Weekend. And we'll give our thoughts on all the games that begin tomorrow with the usual Houston Texan 2:30 kickoff against the Cleveland Browns. Just as we all thought, C.J. Stroud and Joe Flacco going at it.
The equivalent of the ESPN 2 11
a.m. It is a quarterback matchup made in heaven, Mike.
Hey, real quick on the Alabama job, because I just thought about this talking Houston. D'Amico Ryans would be a great candidate for the Alabama job if he had not left the Niners and gone to the Texans.
I got you.
It'd be interesting, yeah. That's an interesting tie-in right there too, for sure. I never even would have thought of that. Not even thinking of the NFL circles too.
Because what he's doing in Houston's legit. He's going to continue to win.
Houston and Green Bay are two teams that are on the upswing because they have paired, I think, good football coaches with a front office that has a vision, and they've got a young quarterback that in their first year of starting has proven that they can win some big games. Yeah, Houston and Green Bay are on the uptick. D'Amico Ryans is now an NFL guy, so he's not leaving. But here's somebody else who really, really, really messed up. That Saban retiring and opening the Alabama job would be a no-brainer. Mel Tucker. If Mel Tucker had continued what he did at Michigan State, like he had added another 10-win season, and he was the beast of the East and not Michigan.
Yep.
Mel Tucker would be in line for the Alabama job, but of course he is in line for no job right now.
Right. Yeah, he would be.
D'Amico Ryans and Mel Tucker would be two guys that in a different world would be ideal candidates for the Alabama job.
for two completely different reasons. But yeah, D'Amico Ryan being a former Alabama player too. But yeah, I never even thought of that. And you're right with Mel Tucker, because you said the most important thing. You have to have probably another year or two of at least 9-10 win season, because given the fact that he was a DC at Georgia too, you get the SEC. There's the SEC tie, so then you have that as well as a coach that went into a Big Ten and was able to survive in a very tough division. Yeah, it's on a day after, I should say, that his appeal got denied as well. So yeah, that didn't happen anytime soon for him.
All right, Jimmy's got an update. Plus, after the update, is the quarterback spot at Nebraska. That position group, the biggest worry now on offense. We'll do that when we return. Mike Schaefer, Matt Verzal, Brian Edwards, all to come on a Football Friday edition with Snowtastic going on outside. It's no longer Snowmageddon, it's Snowtastic. Dang, you can hardly see Dodge from our studio.
I'm surprised the amount of cars I'm seeing, though.
I'm thinking I got a lot of inches outside. That's what I'm thinking. Looked like there were 4 coming in. I think we swelled to about 6. Swelled.
Good job.
Yes.
14 with the
Very
drift.
good there. Well done.
Update coming next on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time Saving Traffic Center, no accidents reported in Omaha. The roads are covered with snow. There's blown snow and dangerous wind chills as you make your morning commute. Expect slick conditions and take it slow and steady. There is a disabled vehicle on the exit ramp of westbound I-80 off of 84th Street. My advice is to keep it slow and steady. Avoid the side streets and stick with the main roads. Make sure you buckle up, and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Zoom Drain.
Zoom Drain's highly trained team of experts and our fleet of well-equipped service trucks are dedicated to providing solutions for homeowners, plumbing contractors, mechanical contractors, and business owners across many industries. Contact Zoom Drain anytime by logging on to zoomdrain.com.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel, they make your driveway Everlevel. Level up.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
The GOAT is coming to Kansas City. Sporting KC will host Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time, at the loudest stadium in the world. See Johnny Russell, Alan Pulido, and the rest of your hometown team take on Messi, Luis Suarez, and more at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on Saturday, April 13th. It's the soccer capital of America versus the greatest of all time. Get your tickets while you still can at sportingkc.com.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Rick Pitino at the Chai tomorrow at noon. His basketball team, which is pretty good, will be there too to battle Creighton, who will also make an appearance. Nebraska ball in Iowa City tonight at 8:30. 8:30. Good thing it's a Friday night. That's because Nebraska-Iowa wrestling precedes that, 6:30.
Yeah, that is not as ridiculous as Casey Thompson playing a seventh-year college
Not at all.
But 8:30 is a little bit extreme.
It is, even on a Friday.
Even starting the Nebraska-Iowa duel, starting at 6:30 is kind of odd. There must be something on BTN beforehand. Because 6:30 is a weird time. Why not start the top of the hour?
Is there an East Coast basketball game? Is there like Rutgers hosting someone and they're starting that thing at like 4?
I have no idea.
4:30?
But hey, I get it Friday night, but 8:30?
Yeah. Campus Eats. Let's see. The Big Story could be that.
What's their daily show now? Big Ten. I can't remember.
I used to know this.
Well, they used to have BTN Live. They don't do that anymore, but it's got a different name now.
But as we've all come to know, even though radio makes the world go round, TV pays the bills.
It does.
Yep. Nebraska ball women beat Illinois last night at PBA 56-48. We'll shoot out. They're 12-4 overall, 4-1 in the Big Ten. They're at Minnesota Sunday at 2. They're pretty good. Speaking of pretty good, Omaha men's basketball, second place in the Summit League after beating North Dakota last night, 79-61. The Zone's Frankie Fiddler, 29 points. 8 of those points came from the free throw line, 18, as he went 18 for 20, tying the program's all-time single-game record for free throws made, 18 of 20. It's pretty good. He's probably mad he missed the 2.
17 free throw attempts in the first half. We didn't go more than 3 possessions without a whistle.
Wow.
It's a miracle you left.
Those are fun calls.
It wasn't like a super physical game either.
Yeah.
The first half took almost an hour.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But can I throw in a little plug here?
You can.
Please.
So tomorrow night, Omaha plays North Dakota State. You get a double dose of basketball. Nobody's going to whine about the weather. Wear a stocking cap. Wear your coat. Don't wear shorts. You got noon between Creighton and St. John's. High-level Big East game. Going to be a good game tomorrow night at Baxter Arena. Don't let the cold scare you away. That game's at 7.
They play indoors,
and
too.
Don't also make a point of, man, I wish I would have watched Frankie Fiddler play when he was at Omaha. I like Frankie. Him and I become really good friends off the floor, and I've seen him for 3 years. What he is doing right now is unbelievable. This is the best, even going back to his time when him and Chucky Hepburn were hooking up at Bellevue West. This is the best that Frankie's played as a basketball player. It's amazing. He's almost unstoppable at times. And last night was one of those nights. So make an appointment. Do not miss out seeing him this year because Omaha's playing a lot better as well.
And he's worked on his body. You see it. And he looks like a college basketball player in the years that have gone on.
But he still has, for some reason, a Southern accent. I will never understand that.
Well, he's from Bellevue. Bellevue's in the south of Eastern Nebraska.
That's almost SEC territory.
Man, he's a dude. He's going to be first team All Summit. Don't know that he'll win Summit League Player of the Year because there's a guy by the name of Tommy Bruner at Denver who's one of the top scorers in the country. But this is the best that Frankie has been as a basketball player. It's a great run, and he's like, he's got some help, but he's carrying the team right now. So good game tomorrow night between the Mavs and the Bison.
Second trip to Omaha this year for the Bison. They were here to play Creighton a couple of months ago. That didn't go well for them. And,
that's right. You were the fill-in voice of the Bison for Sam.
I was a Bison.
You have the scouting report.
Yeah, and you know what? Looking outside, this is what Sam's life is like. So they'll feel right at home being here. A little cool.
Oh, they're going to be pissed. They're going to be like, gosh, it's much nicer up north.
Yeah.
That makes me so mad. But anyway.
Give it time. Wait till baseball season when they can't play up
That's
there.
right. They'll have to play their first home game in May.
Yeah, if that.
They usually do.
Yeah. No, that was it 2 years ago when North Dakota State they couldn't.
It was last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah,
too?
they were Council Bluffs team.
Yeah,
I remember last year.
They played a series against Oral Roberts at Iowa Western because of the turf field.
Yeah, I thought what was it 2 years ago that they did not get a home game until May. I know last year they took a while too, but I thought it was 2 years they did not get a home.
Probably
game.
Every year. Let's be honest.
That would suck. It's tough to recruit.
And they wonder why Iowa State and Colorado dropped baseball, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Omaha improves to 9-9, by the way, 2-1 in the conference. The team has now matched its win total from last year with 13 games left to play. Yeah, they'll surpass that. The Maverick women were in Grand Forks last night. They lose 100-75. They Iditarod to Fargo for a game tomorrow afternoon against the Bison. Omaha hockey tonight at North Dakota for a 2-game series. Bring your own beer. Game 2 tomorrow. Casey Thompson, yes, he's going to continue to play college football, going to Oklahoma. He will be the third player in modern history, joining offensive lineman Paul Moriarty and 1991 wide receiver Brennan Thompson this past spring to play both sides of the Red River Shootout, as it was once known as. It's now just the Red River rivalry. Thompson will turn 26 on October 3rd, 9 days before the Sooners and Longhorns meet. In the NFL, saying I have no reason to stop playing football. That could also apply to Casey Thompson. Travis Kelce indicated Thursday he intends to play next season for the Chiefs. He just says he loves playing with the Chiefs. That's a good employer for him. They still have success, come in with the right mindset, and I just love the challenge that gives me every single day to try and be at my best. I have no desire to stop anytime soon, adding that he knew he was trouble when he walked in. Finally, last night in the NBA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scores 31 points. Josh Giddey a triple-double as Gary's Oklahoma City Thunder rolls past the Portland Trailblazers. People forget the Trailblazers used to be good. 139-77 last night, a 62-point victory that matched the fifth largest rout in NBA history. Oklahoma City shattered its previous record for victory margin of 45 points, set twice during the glory days of 12-13. The Thunder moving to a tie with the Timberwolves, just who you thought would be at the top of the West at 26-11. On December 2nd of 2021, the Thunder were on the wrong end of the NBA's biggest blowout, losing by 73 to Memphis. Meanwhile, the Bucks sweep by the Celtics 135-102. So yeah, weird night in the NBA. They usually are this time of the year, though.
Yeah. You also had Emma Stone was flirting with Grayson Allen last night at the Lakers-Suns game.
Emma, you can do better than that. Come on.
Especially in L.A.
Yeah.
She waved goodbye to him.
Oh.
I don't think it was, hey, get off the floor because Phoenix routed the Lakers.
Right.
It
was
yeah.
They know each other. Is what it seemed to be.
You've seen Superbad. You saw my choices in that movie. Suddenly Grayson Allen's looking pretty good.
Yeah, well, that is true. I don't know. Would you still take Jonah over? Or I guess Seth. His name was Seth in that movie.
Yeah.
Take Seth over Grayson Allen.
Is Hillbilly Kobe still dating? Who was he dating? I can't remember. He was involved with somebody over the offseason. The Lakers supply you with a hot girlfriend when you play for them. It just kind of goes with it. But
hey, I got a uniform question too last night. So Boston was in Milwaukee. Why did their uniforms look exactly like the Bucks?
Because
it's the NBA.
It's so like it was almost like they were paying tribute to being guests of the Milwaukee Bucks, so they had uniforms that looked like the Milwaukee Bucks.
You're trying to get me triggered again to go off on my you can't tell who the hell's playing.
It's very true. Yeah, it's very true. Like there was a day that it was home whites and it was road colors, and now we're seeing not only away whites, but now they looked exactly like the team that was hosting them.
Yeah, you're cheering for one team, and then you realize it's the visiting team, and then you.
I don't know. It was a very odd looking uniform. Like, no, that's not the. Wait, what is going on here? Yeah.
And then they switched the game at one point on you too, on TNT. So then you're really confused because I don't know who's playing now. Suns beat the Lakers, by the way, in that game last night, 127-109.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little intel of something to watch.
Oh,
because coming up in the next segment,
the Nugget.
Yeah, I got this last night in a conversation with somebody. Something to watch, possibly. We all know. I think now the concern on offense for Nebraska in terms of position groups, because they've pegged a starting guard, they've pegged a starting wide receivers, maybe. They've pegged their starting running back. So they have taken care of some deficiencies on offense for an offense that scored 18 points per game in 2023, and your quarterbacks threw 6 more interceptions. They threw touchdown passes. Now, I'm no Don Coryell, rest in peace, but that's not the way to do offense. So they have fixed some of those things.
Great reference, by the way.
The concern now is quarterback room for Nebraska.
I'd agree. Because of
have,
insurance.
You have 2 true freshmen.
Yeah.
And then you have
a non-quarterback.
Harburg.
Mm-hmm.
We're all speculating that when they get through spring, that they will add a veteran quarterback. Now, before all the pieces started to align of Kyle McCord being attached to Nebraska and then eventually Dylan Raiola ending up at Nebraska, I wanted Nebraska to look towards Brookings, the South Dakota State quarterback who just led one of the most dominating teams in FCS history to a national championship. Well, I was told that to watch possibly he could be playing against Nebraska next year.
Oh, against.
His OC has left for Northwestern. He is a Chicago kid.
Yep, Naperville.
He could end up at Northwestern.
That's it. And given the type of quarterback, kind of a dual threat guy, that would be someone that the Northwestern fan, they have even fans, would really like. Like that would be a very good fit. I was hoping you were saying like, hey, he might show some interest in. I mean, why would you come if you're not going to start? But yeah, man.
I mean, you could connect the dots, and that possibly could happen. You got a good gig in Brookings, but you got one shot.
Yep, got one more year.
Go play close to home. Play for Northwestern. David Braun knows of you as his time at North Dakota State.
Yep.
There's a lot of movement going on with North Dakota State staff, South Dakota State staff, North Dakota, South Dakota. Man, the I-29 is pretty active.
But got good football there.
Keep an eye on that. That would be a good pickup for Northwestern if that ever came to fruition. But back to Nebraska's quarterback room. So I think they're close to kind of being done in the portal. There's really no targets out there that are still lingering that are considering Nebraska. Something could pop up. But for the most part, I think Nebraska right now is done. They're never done. They're always going to be churning the roster. If they get opportunities to upgrade or add depth, they're going to do exactly that. But the quarterback room is the worry. And keeping your quarterback, QB1, upright and healthy, because the depth is very, very limited, and essentially you don't want to get down to Harvard. No offense.
Right. No, you don't.
But he's going to go into fall camp or spring ball as QB2. And Danny Kaelin will be QB3, and then you have the walk-ons. So it's wild that Nebraska has worked to churn the roster since the end of the season, that the quarterback room, even with the highest ranked recruit in the history of the program standing in the front of that room, is a worry. And it should be. So as they navigate through spring ball and they figure out what the offense is going to look like, because I give credit to Rule. He admits he doesn't have much offensive creativity with him or his offensive guys, but they do play to the strengths of the quarterback. Harburg couldn't throw the ball deep down the field, but he could run the ball, so Nebraska got into more quarterback run. You know what it's like. Purdy changed the offense because they play to his strengths. So when they figure out exactly with the melding of the run game and the passing game what their quarterback can do, that'll give you a sense of what their offense can do, and also who's going to be in charge of that offense that's not throwing the ball but wearing a headset. Is what do they identify in May of, okay, this is the kind of guy we need for the room? Do we need a Banks who comes in and will be a starter day one, but also will be a mentor? Do they find the equivalent of that at quarterback in the next round of the portal to help out a young quarterback room and probably a new coach that is running that room?
Yeah, I think it has to be a guy that's okay with understanding that he is likely not your starter, but it is someone that understands that there's, given the history, that you're going to see some action, because it's.
Oh no, your pitch is, hey, Tanner Lee's the last guy that started the entire season at Nebraska.
Right, you're going to play.
I mean, Dylan looks like he has a body that's built to withstand the Big Ten, but you're probably going to find your way onto the field, but we also need to help you. We need you to help us help those guys in the room grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's appealing. I think that's appealing for a guy that would not win a battle in May that's looking for a spot.
Yeah, that doesn't feel the weight of the world of expectations, that is quality enough that if you have to turn to him, you don't have to, again, pivot from your offense. Because that's the biggest concern right now that I have is your backup quarterback. He's labeled as a quarterback. He's a tremendous athlete, but he's not a college quarterback that is going to take your offense to the level it needs to. So if you have to, at some point, if nothing happens, that you have to turn to him, how that changes the offense. When you're looking for an offense to have consistency and an identity and being able to stick with that, and then having to, again, pivot to someone's strengths, which, again, I'll give this coaching staff credit for doing, but you can ill afford doing that when you're looking to see those types of moments of progress for this offense and its evolution, that all of a sudden you get back to square one. You're putting people, I mean, not just the quarterback himself, but your offensive line, your skill position guys into a different mindset when it comes to the guy that is going to be behind center. So for me, even from the standpoint, when we knew that Dylan Raiola was going to be the starting quarterback and that you weren't going to have that dream scenario of a McCord-Raiola pairing, that whoever was going to be the backup quarterback or whoever you could identify in the transfer portal had to be someone similar to what they want to run with this offense. You have to have that insurance policy because you just cannot take that step back if and when you have to go to the backup quarterback. And nothing against Danny Kaelin. Hopefully by the end of the season, he's put himself in a position where he knows a lot more about this offense and is a little bit more college ready. But to expect him to be, if Dylan Raiola went down after the first play against UTEP, that he'd be ready to take over that offense without missing a beat in a very important year for this offense, that's asking a lot for another true freshman.
All right, a little bit later, Mike Schaefer will stop by. We'll ask him if he thinks Nebraska is done in the month of January with the portal additions, which, I mean, you cannot disagree that Nebraska has found for Nebraska. I don't want to hear about Ole Miss and Oregon getting Evan Stewart yesterday, the number one wide receiver in the portal. Nebraska has gotten players for Nebraska, and ideally that's what they need. And they did that yesterday with the addition of a guy on offense and a guy on defense. We don't want to forget about Stephon Thompson as he will be joining the linebacker room on a transfer from Syracuse. All of that and much more to come. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Will this be a tainted championship? In my opinion, it will be, yes. The fact that you had a coach literally sit out 6 games this year, this type of a scandal actually affected the play on the field to some degree. To what degree, we don't know. This scandal has to do with affecting the outcome on the field.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Winter storm warning continues Friday with snow, wind, and extreme cold. Expect an additional 2 to 4 inches to accumulate through the early afternoon, bringing storm totals in the metro closer to 7 to 10 inches. Northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour will cause near whiteout conditions and blowing snow concerns into the evening. Highs in the single digits with wind chills 10 to 20 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dreamtime Saving Traffic Center, we got a couple crashes in Omaha. One at 41st and Dodge eastbound, another at 132nd and I with injuries. Roads are covered, snow is blowing around. Expect slick conditions and low visibility. My advice for you is to take it slow and steady. Avoid the side streets and stick with the main roads. Just expect slow traffic in your morning commute. And as always, be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $965 million, which has helped provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house,
Listen to the Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot around and overtime shows, the Creighton men's basketball pregame and postgame shows on 1620 The Zone. The Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot around and overtime shows are also presented by Union Bank and Trust. Hear the breakdown and coverage about your top-ranked Creighton men's basketball team before and after each game, exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone, the 1620 The Zone mobile app, and 1620thezone.com.
How much do you worry about your debt?
With over $15,000 I owe, constantly it keeps me awake at night.
Accelerated debt settlement can cut your debt by up to 85% and in as little as 7 to 12 months.
I could be free of debt in no time?
That's right. Other debt settlement companies can take years to negotiate down your debt, but accelerated debt settlement moves fast.
The sooner I don't have to stress about my debt, the better.
Exactly. In just months, Accelerated Debt Settlement's legal team will negotiate your unsecured debt down 60, 80, even 100%. Your debt from credit cards, student loans, timeshares, medical expenses, and more cut down 60, 80, even 100%. And you'll save thousands of dollars in interest payments.
Finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And a good night's sleep.
Now get free of debt in a year or less with Accelerated Debt Settlement. Just call 1-888-508-8051 and we'll get to work for you. That's 1-888-508-8051. 1-888-508-8051.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, a couple of things here I noticed yesterday as the snow is rapidly accumulating here in Omaha. Yeah. Good luck to everyone that is at work right now and has to leave at 10 to go home.
I'm seeing less and less outside, by the way.
Like snow or being able to see?
Being able to see outside right now.
Yeah. I just want to reiterate a point that was made yesterday. We have people give me a hard time because of my connection to the state of Florida and being a Florida man, and weird stuff happened. I just want to remind people
Sounds pretty
that
nice
weird
now.
stuff happens everywhere. Just Tuesday morning in Lincoln, a man just covered with a shower curtain robbed a liquor store. Hey, Crime Town, they are not only doing crime well in Lincoln, they do it like off the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we made a Crime Town reference to Lincoln, the capital city.
I think my ears and antenna would perk up if somebody walked into my liquor store in just a shower curtain.
Yeah.
Put the gun down. I got you. Here's some money.
But here's a thing that was tweeted out. Sean Vest, who is a sergeant with the Bellevue Police Department, listener of 1620 The Zone, by the way. They did a reminder. I don't think this is centered around people that live in Bellevue, because there are some wonderful people that live in Bellevue and they would never do this. But this is just a reminder, everyone, as the snow is piling up, and I think we have somebody went out and checked outside of the studios here at 50th and Capitol. We have 8 inches of snow on the ground.
Damn!
I just got a text of 8 at home. I was like, how do you measure? Today.
Well, I'm gonna there's a joke there, but I'm gonna.
I know.
keep it.
I know.
Because that was from your wife, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And you're here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to the story about Bellevue.
She is
so
not.
this was tweeted out yesterday. I kind of want to try this, but I'm also very immature. Sergeant Vest tweeted out, if you live in Old Town Bellevue and are currently pouring gas onto the snow and trying to light it on fire as a form of snow removal, you cannot do that.
People do that?
It's like the people in Independence Day that were shooting at the UFO.
No.
Somebody in Old Town Bellevue.
So this has become a problem that has.
This, so the police were on their way to talk to this person. I kind of want to try this, as immature as I am and as much of a kid as I am.
Let's do it here.
But there's
you can spell stuff.
There's the 3. No, I can do. Oh, that's
you can spell stuff in the
Hold
snow.
that. I can do that, and I don't need gasoline. It's yellow snow.
Oh well, yeah.
I want to bet when I was young and I did it in cursive, I spelled my name. No hands.
People
Okay,
forget cursive.
You had to go, didn't you?
I had the hips. I kind of want to try this, but there's the 3% in my body that is like responsible. There's like, this is a really dumb idea and would end up poorly.
Yeah, it could be a very bad idea.
Yeah.
Too. There's dumb and there's bad, or there's dumb and there's unsafe. I think this sort of checks all the boxes there.
Bellevue West Joey.
Can't believe that's a thing.
That's what I thought of.
No.
It wasn't him.
Not that he'd be doing it, but I thought, hey.
doing that. So he writes into the Equitable Bank.
I want a picture of this.
About my comment about Frankie Fiddler.
Oh.
Who Frankie's on a heater for Omaha. They're home tomorrow night for North Dakota State. He says another local, St. Thomas, has been looking way better this year too. So St. Thomas from Millard North went to Loyola. He got sideways with the head coach midway through last year, and it was in a gots-to-go situation. And so St. Thomas, second semester of college last year, was back here in Omaha. I mean, he came to a couple of Omaha games, and he was trying to figure out what he was going to do. He ended up in Greeley, great spot for him. And Joey's right. St. Thomas is balling for Northern Colorado, 37-14 last night. So it got me to think here.
Wow.
You remember the COVID year where the state tournament here for basketball started?
Yep.
And we always wondered, are they going to stop it?
Yeah, when's it going to stop? Yeah.
But it continued, and we were blessed with one of the craziest games in Class A, where Bellevue West scored the last 16 points of the game and beat Millard North 64-62.
Yep.
Unbelievable game. Just the comeback by Bellevue West. And if you followed high school basketball, boys high school basketball in Class A for the last few years, it has basically been Millard North and Bellevue West. You know, Tim Cannon got his championship. Doug Woodard got his championship. It has been Millard North, Bellevue West. So it got me to think on Joey's email. I went back and looked at the box score from that game. So that game has produced quite a bit of D1 basketball talent. Millard North had St. Thomas, Northern Colorado, Jason Greens at Creighton, Hunter Salas, Gonzaga, now to Wake Forest, Frankie Fiddler at Omaha, Sweet Lou, his brother, walked on at Omaha last year, not playing basketball this year. Chucky Hepburn is at Wisconsin. Josiah Dotzler is at Creighton. That's for a state that is not known for its high school basketball. The 2020 game, and there are others out there that people now will send to me, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just, because we're talking about St. Thomas and Frankie Fiddler, that's pretty damn impressive of the amount of talent that played in the 2020 boys Class A state title between Millard North and Bell West.
Remember what's so cool about that night too is that was really the only thing sporting wise that was going on, and it got ESPN Sports Center coverage. You actually had, I think 2 days in a row that they were showing the semifinals, and then they showed the championship game on Sports Center because there was nothing else other than the Korean Baseball League going on. And we'd finally sort of adjusted to, I wouldn't say adjusted, but we kind of accepted that there was not going to be any sports on anytime soon. So the fact that you could actually watch that game. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, has it always been, was it free to watch it? I'm trying to remember, because wasn't it also streaming? Because it wasn't on public television, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was? Okay, for some reason I thought there was.
It wasn't on Peacock either.
No, it wasn't.
I don't think Peacock existed.
No.
But it was, I just remember a lot of people just kind of gathering around like it was like a Nebraska game going on that night, because it was the only thing, and you knew that there was two very good basketball programs, and you had a lot of guys that were going to be playing Division I basketball, and it was just something that you needed. So it was more therapeutic than anything.
Here's your madness. This is what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like, all right, you're not going to see any more conference tournaments going on. NCAA tournament, which was supposed to be in Omaha that year, all that's banged. So here you go. Take this on. I mean, that's kind of the exciting thing about having the tournament back in Omaha, is the last time it was supposed to be here was when that was just, it was cool to have that, but it still just reminds me of one of the most ominous things, other than the obvious of things just getting canceled left and right, is Creighton playing the first half of a Big East tournament and then not coming out in the second half, because that was like the last thing to get canceled. Just bizarre. But yeah.
Hold on. I know what you're doing to break the news. I have to throw this something else out there. So the amount of talent that played in that championship game, you also had one of the top mid-major players in the country right now. Tucker DeVries was at Elkhorn South. Not a bad high school basketball season in 2020 20. All right. The hood riddance doesn't last very long.
New hoodie in New England.
There was nothing mutual about that. Nothing mutual. But what is mutual is the relationship between Robert Kraft and Gerard Mayo, who has been announced as the new football coach for the New England Patriots. So,
the guy retired in 2015.
He had this had to be. I wonder if this will come out. This had to be the succession plan.
Yeah.
So a contract in place, an agreement after last season that, Bill, this is it for you.
Yeah.
Regardless, you go 4-13 or 13-4. But Mayo went and interviewed at a lot of places. He stayed. They gave him a huge raise. He's going to be our football coach in 2024. And now they've announced it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Gave him the wink.
It doesn't happen that quickly.
Should they have waited a day?
Yes.
Should they have waited
maybe they don't care
for one more day and then announce it maybe Saturday on the day of the playoffs?
Yeah, with the playoffs starting, which would seem like kind of a Patriot thing of maybe trying to captivate an audience that's dialed into the NFL that day, especially. I think if you're trying to sell that this was a mutual parting of the ways, that would serve you best. Because the immediate announcement, not even 24 hours after Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft did that press conference yesterday that you were announcing that's obvious. That was set in motion a long time ago.
It was before the season that they had decided that Gerard Mayo would take over in 2024. Now, the only thing standing, because the Patriot way will continue, but it really is the Robert Kraft way. It's his kingdom, and he's the only guy standing.
Yep.
Somewhere Parcells.
And you got a quarterback problem, too. Part of the Patriot way was also Tom Brady, was number 12.
Oh, are you going to go into that argument?
Oh, big time.
A lot of people think that's the worst sports argument out there, is that Belichick could not win with Brady, and it was all Brady made Belichick.
I wouldn't go that far.
I'm not saying there's the highest level of football I've coached is 4th grade, and we had a terrible quarterback. That kid couldn't tie his shoes, so his parents got him those Velcro shoes. I'm not kidding.
You spat him?
But we ran the ball a lot. We were, if it would have existed back there, I would have worn the run the damn ball hat.
And the lack of success sticks with you, doesn't it? As your coaching reputation.
I did a poor job of recruiting. My lineman weighed like 75 pounds.
Yeah. Needed to get him on a protein plan.
But if we would have had a quarterback, we would have been much better, and he would have made me a better coach.
Yeah.
If I was a better coach, I could have made the quarterback a better coach. So they go hand in hand.
They do.
That's an argument that I don't think there is a winner about Belichick without Brady, Brady with Belichick. The one thing that is true.
Why can't both be true, though? That they
no, because
they were good for each other.
That's not how it works. How long you been in this business? That's not how it works.
But I think that is true.
But one of the best and most kahuna decisions that Belichick ever made. Remember, they paid Drew Bledsoe a lot of money.
Yep.
And Bledsoe got hurt, so you have to go, Brady, you're in. And when Bledsoe was healthy, Belichick said, Brady, you're still in.
Wally pipped him.
With all of that money that they committed to Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah. In a much smaller degree. It was exactly what happened to Matt Flynn in Seattle, and they paid the money. He didn't play, but they paid him the money in the offseason. Then Russell Wilson ended up being the starter. But
now part of the argument, though, here, isn't it, Nick, is Brady went and won a Super Bowl somewhere else with an entirely different coaching staff.
Yes.
Where since Brady departed New England, it fractured the relationship between Belichick and Kraft, and thus, after 24 years and 6 titles, you're unemployed.
Right. I don't think anybody is going to, from that argument, the optics of it were definitely Brady helped Belichick more than Belichick helped Brady. And the amount of home team discounts that Tom Brady took so they could continue to build the organization and get the type of players that they needed. Again, that all goes to Tom Brady and what he ultimately wanted to accomplish on the field as opposed to what he wanted to accomplish financially. It was fine anyway. But the Bill Belichick attention to detail with the system, knowing that you do have a quarterback that turned out to be the GOAT on how you go about it year in and year out and continuing that thing seamless, there has to be a lot of credit there because I don't think, in fact, I know Tom Brady in any other organization does not go on that run. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Nobody can convince me otherwise. So that's why I can't say, well, if without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick doesn't do that. Sure, but I can't also say without Bill Belichick, without Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, what is he? You can't say that, well, the one guy helped the other and there's no middle ground there, because that system and being able to convince and work around that system that Bill Belichick put in place, maybe how joyless it could have been at times for some of those players. What's pretty damn awesome is being able to hoist up a Lombardi trophy. And so I don't think that there's an argument that can be made, in my personal opinion, that, well, it was all Tom Brady. Bill Belichick did nothing. Because if you look at Bill Belichick as a coach and say he did nothing during that dynasty, it was all Tom Brady. I don't think you know football. I really don't.
Another thing they did, and I'm with you, and there's both sides of these argument, and you can take it to a bar and you're going to holler at each other.
It's Jordan LeBron. It's Jordan LeBron.
Is it comes down to, and this is football. And guys, it's the inches in front of your face.
Oh, go. Come on.
It's true.
Come on, Al.
Especially today.
Is it a culture or is it a quarterback? Talk amongst yourselves.
It's a fantastic question.
Especially after your fourth grade
All
football
right.
story.
Hey, if you even want to bring the local 22 in, you can. Culture or a quarterback, because you can have the same conversation in a place like Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the same conversation in a place like Baltimore. You could even have the conversation in a place like Miami. Culture or quarterback?
I love this question because it immediately makes me think back to who Tom Brady was coming out of college and what he ended up being. So I would say culture. I will say culture on the way that, because I think when especially the quarterback position, when you get into the NFL, there's probably not enough discussion on development. And it's not the same type of development we're talking about guys going from high school to college. It's development of the professional game. It's development of, obviously, Tom Brady and other great quarterbacks that have come before him and after him have the football IQ that you need to hone in on. But isn't the only way to hone in on those assets is by having a strong culture, having a strong coaching staff, having someone behind you that develops at the professional level so you're able to reach that ceiling. You're not reaching that ceiling without a good culture. So I would say culture. And I think you could also go back to, you could look at college programs too. Same thing. We're gonna watch this before our very eyes in the next couple of years with Dylan Raiola. We know Dylan Raiola has raw talent. The guy has got the it factor. But that's completely by the wayside if you do not go into a strong culture when it comes to a culture that allows development, but allows development from a positive rate. And what I mean by the positive rate is it's development consistently across the board, not just in certain spots where, boy, they do a really good job of developing running backs, but not as much on offensive line, or they do a great job of developing linebackers, but not as much defensive line. Like there's consistent development where everything is moving forward. To me, that's a culture. That's how you get the best out of it. So you can have the most skilled, athletic, talented quarterback, but without a solid culture, you're not reaching that ceiling. You're not reaching that potential.
Something to think about, because we're going to go through it when we roll into the 24 season. If you have a quarterback that you love, that you know is a difference maker, but you don't treat him as a miracle worker, you let the program treat him as a miracle worker, that's a good thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
But it has become one of the, like you were bringing up LeBron and Jordan, the Brady Belichick thing has become one of the most polarizing and deep, heated conversations in sports.
Yeah. And I don't,
because one is likable and the other's a jerk.
Yeah, exactly. And one became even more likable when he left New England. Like when we're watching Tom Brady in the boat parade on his avocado vodka, barely able to walk, like a lot of us were like, hey, all right, this is the Tom Brady I can get down with, because now he's sort of out of the system. That's why I mentioned at times it appeared that the Patriot way was sort of joyless, where you'd get the occasional character here and there with a Gronkowski, and every now and then Tom Brady would give you something. But for the most part, those guys kept everything on the wraps because that's what they were told to do. When you saw Tom Brady have that sort of freedom where he, again, still is a great quarterback because of what he was a part of in New England too. He was able to translate that into a different organization and lift a lot of people up around him as well. But it made that argument and the optics of the obvious of winning a title without Bill Belichick all of a sudden ramped up that conversation of, oh, it was always Tom Brady, or I'm sorry, that's just not true. They both helped each other. And I just don't understand why that can't be the way that the narrative that we look at.
Brady more than Brady needed Belichick.
I'd agree. Because we saw Belichick in Cleveland.
But Belichick without Brady. Yeah. So here's the end of an era.
And now
is you have where you do everything. You're an autocrat. You're the GM. You're the coach. Okay, that's an end of an era. We're not going to see that. We're not going to see that anymore.
It's too much.
So you have to look at Belichick from the coach and also the construction of a roster. And when
that's fair. Yeah,
when he did not have a quarterback, what did the rest of his roster look like?
That's very true. When you don't have the quarterback, the system had major holes, and that does fall on you because you're also the personnel identifier and the personnel organizer there. That's a fair point. It's a very fair point.
We'll see what happens with Belichick. I think Robert Kraft's comment says he's going to coach again.
Yeah.
Now, I think an outside of the box place, I know you brought up Atlanta earlier, makes sense. And I would like to see Belichick's career end where he just does his job, and that's coach football. What that looks like.
Yeah, straight up coaching, not worrying about personnel decisions. I mean, having a say in it, but not being the ultimate decider.
Let him do his job in his job title, which is a head coach.
I think that's what Bill Belichick needs to do when he finishes this thing out, though. I think if Bill Belichick goes to a different organization and that organization is crazy enough to say, hey, you still have the autonomy that you had in New England, I think you're bound to fail there. And I think Bill Belichick goes out on a low note. If he hasn't already, and that's why I think that's the other reason I think he picks up somewhere else, because he doesn't want to be remembered that way.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he also wants to be remembered. There's enough people that cover the Patriots and are insiders that will get to the bottom of this of when was the exact moment when his relationship with Robert Kraft went south. Because I think even during the heyday of the Brady,
I think when Garoppolo was there,
you were choosing Bill over Tom. I mean, it's like, everybody ranks their children, don't they?
Yeah.
Like
I only have one.
Like Dion ranks his children. Yeah, Reese is lucky. Some days he doesn't get a ranking.
Take
a star away.
Yeah, I do.
But where at what moment did that relationship become fractured?
I go back to when Garoppolo and that whole handling of the moving on from Brady and not moving on from Brady. And that's where I think those two collided the most. And I think from that point on, I don't know what was said in those conversations, but I think they got to a point of no return where it wasn't going to go back to the way it was as far as their interaction. How long ago was that? Like, gosh, that's almost 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were just kind of getting by. And I wonder if Robert Kraft, even after the sort of the first failed experience, it's almost kind of like, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt without Tom Brady. But I think the clock was rapidly ticking as far as you better get a quarterback that we can clearly see is going to have a major future here. And they didn't do that.
Hey, Jimmy, you're a historian of the show. Who is more of a GOAT in their profession? Because they each had a particular GOAT at a position or in their sport. Phil Jackson or Bill Belichick?
Ooh, and Phil always had a GOAT.
Talk about lasting images, though, and Phil and that dumpster fire in L.A.
But he did grab himself some rings with Kobe.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
And he knew how to manage personalities.
Oh, I'm sorry, not L.A., New York.
And when you said about the Patriots announcing tomorrow, reminded me of when Phil was hired with the Lakers. It was strategically done the day of Game 1 of the NBA Finals, which was in San Antonio that night, and nobody was talking about basketball.
Yeah, of course, it was in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean LA.
People forget
LA was actually largely more successful. The New York stint where he was running the organization, that was not good.
He could coach and handle personalities. He was a personal
Not a
guy,
front
much
office
like
guy.
how Larry Brown was with the Knicks as coach.
So who would
good.
you go with more than?
I'll go with Phil.
Is Pete Carroll involved in any of these conversations that we're having right now?
Of GOAT?
Pete Carroll won a national championship in college football, won a Super Bowl.
He preceded Belichick.
Could have won two.
Could have won
Super
two.
Bowls.
Probably should have won two.
All you do
If
is
you run the ball, give it to Marshawn. But head coach, even if that wasn't ultimately your call or not.
Yeah. Instead,
still on your
Seahawks
tab.
country, let's ride. Throws a pick.
Because Pete Carroll still made the playoffs without Russell Wilson.
Yes, he did.
He made the postseason with Geno Smith.
Yeah.
I could have done it this year.
I would never put him into like the GOAT category. I will say this, though, for Pete Carroll, and one of the things that I continue to appreciate about the type of coach he was is in that run with USC, especially for like 04-05, that roster, the amount of talent and 5-stars that they had, and very little attrition as far as keeping all of those guys happy. People who were not getting the football all the time, people who wanted to be on the field a lot more, to be able to manage that type of high-end talent and expectation level, to keep all of those guys engaged. You talk about culture, give the man a lot of credit about that. However you want to label him, when he knew the posse was coming and got the heck out of Dodge, that dude knew how to bring in a culture that was going to be all-inclusive, even for some of the biggest egos that we're not going to see immediate playing time. That is not easy, especially this day and age, but even back then was not easy.
I love that 30 for 30. I mean, those teams were ahead of their time. When you look at today and NIL, they were doing NIL before it was a thing.
Yeah.
Morning, Reggie.
All right, finish this segment. Back to what they do in Old Town Bellevue is light the snow on fire. Terry writes into the Equitable Bank inbox, Die Hard 2, remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys
The
need
runway.
jet fuel.
Yeah,
For
There's
the
your
runway.
landing
Yeah.
light.
John McClane
Paraphrased.
lit the stream of the jet fuel.
That was the Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yippee-ki-yay,
We
Mr.
do not
Falcon.
advise that, but I want you to know that at about 10:02, I'll be driving home. And if you could just, that 52nd Street that winds its way through some bougie neighborhood.
Just make a lane.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you encouraging right now? Just to plow it or to remove the snow any way you can?
All I know.
Whether that's gasoline.
All I know is that on that stretch, there were some people out this morning that were shoveling. And when the plows come through and
Yeah.
they pile it up at the end of your driveway,
Yeah.
people are getting upset.
They are. That
Guy-
usually happens at our place too. It did not this last week, which I was very appreciative of.
Guy tweeted at me earlier and he said, "You guys got some pull. Can you tell the snowplow driver not to pile up snow at the end of my driveway? I just spent 2 hours shoveling my driveway."
It is frustrating.
It's a
I think
no-win situation.
we've all at some point been there too, where it's like you sit back. It's like having a good lawn mowing moment. You sit back, you admire what you did, and then all of a sudden, like 10 minutes later, it's done.
All right, pitchers and catchers reporting about 5 weeks. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, offers exterior solutions that help you protect your number one investment. Whether it's roofing and siding or windows and doors, they're committed to excellence, quality, and outstanding customer service in every step of the process. When it's time to protect the exterior of your home, your choice is simple. Turn to who the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Check them out online and schedule a free estimate today. J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
My passion for the unborn comes from my own unplanned pregnancy. Dan and I have been together for over 45 years. We have 3 of the most beautiful children. My name is Marlis Patma. I'm the former president of Iowa Right to Life, and I'm supporting Nikki Haley for president. I've heard Nikki's story. She speaks with such clarity about the importance of life because for her, it's personal.
I am unapologetically pro-life, not because the Republican Party tells me to be, but because my husband was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children.
Nikki's a sister in Christ. She's pro-life. She has compassion and strength. I want a president with moral clarity who can restore our country, our pride, and our purpose. For my children and yours, Please support Nikki Haley for president.
I'm Nikki Haley, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Nikki Haley for president.
The GOAT is coming to Kansas City. Sporting KC will host Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time, at the loudest stadium in the world. See Johnny Russell, Alan Pulido, and the rest of your hometown team take on Messi, Luis Suarez, and more at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on Saturday, April 13th. It's the soccer capital of America versus the greatest of all time. Get your tickets while you still can at sportingkc.com.
Take your home to the next level with Level countertops, cabinets, and flooring. If you have a kitchen, bath, or closet that is completely dysfunctional, now is the time to make them functional. Level countertops, cabinets, and flooring is your expert for taking your home to the next level. The staff will listen to your needs and dreams and create a unique space specifically for you and your family. Visit the showroom at 192nd and West Maple or online at levelomaha.com. That's levelomaha.com.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long. Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks. Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long. And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Your Omaha Mavericks hockey team is back in action at Baxter Arena as the Mavs take on the top 10 ranked Denver Pioneers Friday and Saturday, January 19th and 20th. Get your tickets for these games and all remaining games as the Mavericks compete for the NCHC Championship. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tigs.
1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, coming up next hour, we'll get into hoops, Iowa and Nebraska tonight in Iowa City before Crickets at Carver Hawkeye.
Dozens?
Well, that's
going to be a Bryce Jordan Center type crowd.
They're going to, or if you watch Maryland, Michigan last night, there weren't very many people for that game. Aren't many people that are supporting Juwan Howard right now.
Yeah.
But it'll be a light crowd because the weather conditions.
Yeah, not good.
Dodge is a mess.
Yeah.
There are people at 90th and Dodge right now. Lots.
Celebrating Nebraska possibly being ranked?
Wait, 90th and Dodge. Have we had an update on 90th and Dodge?
They just showed a video there.
Was it moving? People were actually moving?
No. It was,
no.
There was a lot of cars that
avoid 90th and Dodge.
I alerted you boys.
Yep, you did.
Damon told me back in the day.
Well,
Don't go there.
It's just a mess.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate because all the TV stations have cameras there. So like, hey, look at this guy. So it'll be a light crowd tonight, and Nebraska has had trouble playing defense on the road. We'll get into that. Creighton plays St. John's tomorrow. Boy, when will St. John's get here?
Yeah, that's a good question because
did they sneak into town?
That's what I'm wondering if they got in last night. I hope
maybe Creighton told them you better get in here.
And usually those athletic departments and sports information directors and everything, they're pretty in tune, and I think they communicate a lot. I wonder if there was some talk of, you might want to ramp up your plans.
I do know because the blizzard about 5-6 years ago that shut down the state of Nebraska, and we were playing in Fargo, and Epley was shut down.
Yeah.
The charter we were on, the guy was like, if I can see the runway, I can land.
That's not what you want to do.
He landed, and you couldn't see anything. Now, we landed like late at night, early into the morning. And he landed on the runway. It was snow-packed over by TAC Air.
Yeah.
So
is that where you're like Corbin Burnson in Major League, and you just have like the the old sleep mask on, and you're just sitting there like, I don't even want to know where we land. Just land.
This guy flying the charter was pretty good because it was like a smooth landing,
Yeah.
but it was all snow, and then they had to come out and plow for you to get to the lobby of TAC Air.
That would freak me out.
And then to get your car out of the parking lot. So that they're chartering, so maybe it's a little bit different.
It can happen.
So we'll discuss both of those games. But I also want to, and we'll pose this question to Shafe coming up in an hour. Stephon Thompson commits to Nebraska yesterday. He's from Syracuse. He's familiar with the 3-3-5. Tony White handed it over to Rocky Long. They ran the same defense. He's battled some injuries. So he's an addition to where I think he'll play at the jack linebacker. So you got Borders and Sherman there. Every film you watch of him, he's got a pretty good eye for the football. He's always around the football. Guys that are coming back, they haven't had to do a lot on defense in terms of portal activity. Nobody talks about Nebraska should be a top 10 defense again. Why?
I don't know why. I don't know why not. Because they should be.
Iowa will be very, very good on defense once again. They finished 7th in the country. Listen, the Big Ten last year, the top 11 teams in total defense. I know there's other metrics that you probably rely on to tell if a defense is good or not, but I'm just using total defense right now. Michigan was 1, Penn State was 2, Ohio State was 3rd, Iowa was 7th, Nebraska was 11th, Rutgers was 16th. That's the top 20. Maybe it's our fault. We haven't discussed. Nebraska's not a top 10 defense again. What went wrong? Schedule is going to be a little bit different. You're going to get challenged by some offense that's going to stretch you horizontally and vertically. But going into the season, I don't think you should shy away from going, man, Nebraska with another year and dudes that you know are going to make another step up.
Yeah.
Why can't they be a top 10 defense? If they're not a top 10 defense, is it because of the schedule or because it just all fell apart? I don't know. I think the way they play and they play together going in the year, top 10 defense. Remember, you get back to Sean Singleton.
And
he was a dude before he got hurt.
Well, and you talked about some of those
White
younger
Boodle.
guys up front too, being able not only having the Nash and Ty Robinson back, but also having younger guys like Cam Lenhart, like Princewell, and those guys another year of development too. It's so exciting, and knowing that you're still going to keep a healthy rotation. Inside linebacker, we'll see, but what you have in the secondary, what you have on the edge, what you have up front, it's as good as it's been in a long, long time. There should be those expectations.
All right, we'll shift into some hoops talk coming up in the next hour. Mike Schaefer, Matt Verzal, Brian Edwards, all to come in the last hour from the comfort of their home. Verz, though, is probably in the shop already.
Oh, yeah, he's probably at Sam's.
They're going to be, Pisons will be crushed today. People are like, hey, I'm stuck at home. Can you
deliver a pie or two?
Talked to him a couple days ago, and he was out delivering. He's grinding, man.
Yes,
he is a hell of a grinder. All right, 803. Is a grinder on their menu?
I was actually just wondering that.
Speaking of Omaha hockey being at North Dakota, the Red Pepper.
Yeah.
You been up there to a game?
To
North Dakota?
Yeah.
You ever go to the Red Pepper?
No, I did not go to the Red Pepper, though.
Got to go to the Red Pepper. And go to the OG Red Pepper, not the off-site franchise Red Pepper.
Oh, so there's like kind of like a rage and an original rage like
they're
debate
very, very popular. They're in the original location, which is kind of a dive.
Dives are the best.
And people are like, you know what? Guys should move here to the strip mall.
And there you have the problem right there.
So if you're up in Grand Forks listening to the show, you know about the Red Pepper.
Yeah, you're enjoying better weather right now.
And this weather.
Yourself a grinder. All right, it's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dreamtime Saving Traffic Center, we got a few crashes reported in the Omaha metro area. One on eastbound Dodge at 41st, another at northbound 132nd and I with injuries. There's also a couple crashes on westbound I-80 near the ILQ exits, and there's an accident on the entrance ramp from Center Road to westbound I-80. Be sure to take it slow and steady, buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Radon Defense Midwest.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
The world's on fire. Attacks in the Middle East. Ukraine and Russia at war. And right here, Joe Biden has created a dangerous threat to every American. Biden's open border policies have opened the floodgates to a record number streaming in, 12,000 in one day alone. This means increased terrorist threats and even more deadly fentanyl being delivered to our neighborhoods. President Trump will change that. He'll secure our borders by building even more wall. He'll end visitors from terrorist countries being allowed to enter. And Trump will treat the drug cartels the same as he treated terrorists who kill Americans. President Trump, the strength to protect our borders and our families.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024, Inc.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Cops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Cops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-434-3366. That's 1-800-434-3366. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-434-3366. That's 1-800-434-3366.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Your Omaha Mavericks hockey team is back in action at Baxter Arena as the Mavs take on the top 10 ranked Denver Pioneers Friday and Saturday, January 19th and 20th. Get your tickets for these games and all remaining games as the Mavericks compete for the NCHC Championship. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tigs.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620, The Zone.
Hey, I think somebody shamed David in this building or Chris. So shout out. We're patting ourselves on the back. because every station in the morning made it in. Now, it has gotten worse since we all came in right before 6.
Yeah.
But we have
it looks bad.
We have David and Chris are in.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought, you know what? All you guys have come in. We're going to order breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have somebody DoorDash it. And I said, man, that's cruel. And also, I don't think it'll be here for a while. Right. So David said, I'll do it. I got a Jeep. So he is off to go grab breakfast.
He is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe we can get an update. Maybe he'll call into the show. And
Traffic
give a
report.
little, yeah.
Take Joey with you.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh. Joey or Peter doing traffic?
It's Joey today.
Yeah, it is Joey.
Yeah, Peter's laughing. Not here Monday, not here Friday.
Peter would be really stressing safe driving and making sure everyone's good to go. Peter's very kind. He's a very kind traffic guy.
So is Joey.
Yeah, I mean, they're both kind gentlemen, but yes, their traffic reports very endearing. There's not much of a traffic report today. Nobody's on the road.
We had Fred.
They're bad. Yeah, other than Fred.
Don't cross the median.
Yeah.
Follow up to Fred's phone call, where the only people can remember about Fred's phone call is that he swore. That's okay.
But he wasn't wrong.
But he has apologized on
Fred.
social media. Says sorry about the S-bomb.
Yeah, we won't cancel.
That vehicle slid across the interstate through a grassy area up onto the off-ramp I was getting on right in front of me. Dip. Iowa JD, who we will be side by side tonight at Nebraska Iowa Wrestling.
Who's driving, by the way?
JD.
Okay.
He's a Cadillac guy. Would you think that a man that lives in Carter Lake and umpires softball and has a really good job would be driving a Caddy?
I got to be careful here. Sure, why not? Yeah, I could buy that.
Okay, so he's a Cadillac guy.
Is he a Cadillac SUV or just a regular Caddy sedan?
No, it's an SUV. He's
Okay.
got all the softball.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, you could have a big sedan though, and be able to fit all that in there.
Him and Greg and Hastings are our two favorite college softball umpires.
Greg
He
knows.
says if Florida State loses its coaches, Mike Norvell, Kellen DeBoer, Tommy Reese appear to be the three. Dan Lanning had a boss video that he released yesterday.
Yeah.
That basically said, "I'm not effing going anywhere."
Yeah, his approval rating is through the roof right now.
Be very afraid, Big Ten. Be very, very afraid. And then Evan Stewart commits to him. But Iowa JD says if FSU loses its coaches, and after yesterday with the NCAA, put it on the board, FSU will be in the Big Ten 2025, regardless of what it costs. There is a lot of rumblings about the Big Ten and Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner than later. How are we feeling?
How
would
does
we
this
feel
happen,
with
though?
Florida State joining the Big Ten?
Why not?
What do you mean, how does it happen?
The amount of money, though. Is someone going to step up and pay the over $125 million? Is that just going to happen? Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I know that there's one major hurdle there, and it's not peanuts. So I get it. They want to leave. I totally understand that, and I feel for them. But at some point, someone's going to have to step up financially and be able to do that because they're not getting rid of this thing without paying a hefty cost. There will always be lawyers, and there will always be money. I would think so in this day and age.
Shoveling snow, or you are.
I guarantee you there are lawyers that are lawyering the crap out of this thing for Florida State, but you would think if that was the case, something would have presented itself by now, right?
So they got some NIL recruiting violations yesterday, which is it excessive? Yes. Is it selective? Yes. And if this is the case, you might as well vacate the 2023 college football season. Significant penalties were handed down to Florida State for their involvement with NIL and a recruit.
Yeah, the separation with the collective for a year, that's big.
NCAA made Florida State an example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is not Kansas basketball.
You think Mike Norvell wants to hang around? They don't want to be in the conference. The conference didn't back them.
Mm-hmm.
They have a gap in terms of money and what they're competing against.
Intro presser Monday?
I just think it would be ironic.
Smallest buyout out of the group.
Silly season that Alabama keeps Florida State out of the playoff, and Florida State, their head football coach, ends up at Alabama.
Yeah,
it would be ideal, but we were discussing earlier that could mean a phone call to Boulder and to see if Prime wants to come back to his alma mater,
which then would greatly impact Nebraska's upcoming schedule too, of having a primeless and most likely a Shadurless Colorado football team. So.
And the Buffs are back.
Oh, no, we suck again. Oh, has Prime, here's a question, though. Has Prime made, again, it takes somebody that has a very, very unique presence like Dion Sanders does, but has he made that a better job just in 1 year?
In Boulder?
Yeah.
For him, it has. But for the next person, no.
Yeah, because you can't follow that model. And so
are you loyal to the head coach or are you loyal to the brand?
I would say this roster right now is to the coach.
When the coach is not there?
Oh, they'll be loyal to him.
Yeah. For the ones that he wants. And then the rest are probably either displaced or saying, hey, you know what? I'll just
stay in
Boulder. I got
Boulder.
no other options. I'll stick around here.
That's why, whether it be Prime or any other coach, there are very few Nick Sabans because Saban is letting you know that the grind of recruiting. I hear coaches talk about the recruiting, and I'm glad I'm in this profession because that is an absolute grind where your life is dictated by the whims of an 18 to 22-year-old kid, but basically a 17, 18-year-old kid, and you put so much time and effort into it, and you think you got a guy, and then at the last moment they say, I'm going somewhere else, and you get that phone call, and you're like, all right, on to the next one. But the world of college football, well, really the world of college athletics and constructing a roster is so predicated on recruiting. I mean,
it never ends.
That's where Saban turned the corner at Alabama. They upped their recruiting. And once they flipped the switch and they had validation on the field, then it just became not turnkey, because never is it turnkey, but it opened the door, but you had to keep feeding the beast. Saban, talking about Prime, who his way of constructing a roster is attract them to me. It just shows you that Saban is in a category of very few college football coaches where they were great recruiters, but even better coaches.
Yeah.
Because you can't, Mac Brown, thing he ran into at Texas is he was winning too many February championships when we just had one signing day. He never won the September, October, November, December after he won his one championship. And thus, at a place like Texas where you got to keep feeding the beast, you were out. Saban was a great recruiter, but even a better coach with the talent that he brought. Instead of just bring the talent and let them go, he said, bring the talent and let's get them better.
Well, and that's why
very few coaches, even now with Saban departed, Nick, very few coaches in the game right now can make a case that's what they're doing.
At least not at that level, no. Because
Kirby Smart, definitely, who is without Saban, is probably the number one coach in all of college.
And he had
football.
a front row seat to all of that when he was with Nick. So, we've talked about this before. Brad brought it up when we were talking to him yesterday about Nick Saban. Probably the thing that I don't even know if it gets overlooked, but needs to be appreciated probably more than the 7 national championships and the 6 at Alabama, is everything you just said right there. He did that with sort of a revolving door with his staff. You would think, okay, it's probably more attainable to be able to attract talent and be better coaches from a development standpoint if you have continuity with your coaching staff. If they know what to expect out of you, you know what to expect out of them, and the players know all of that. But when you're constantly replacing an OC, a DC, special teams coordinator, quarterback coach, all of those things are happening either every year to every 2 years, and yet you don't miss a beat. Absolutely 100% that directs right back to the top guy of the type of program that he runs from the top and how he is able to get all of his coaches, all the guys that work with him, into that spot, hitting the ground running and being able to pick up from where the last guy left off. To me, that is insane how they never really missed a beat there. That'll never be done again.
See, this is the other thing about the Alabama gig and really college football right now in the NIL world and recruiting and how it's nonstop and how you construct your roster. Either you go all in on high school and you supplement with some portal guys, or you are 50-50. Is the thing with Saban, he had such a pull that he didn't need to go to the NIL card. So it was there at Alabama, but he didn't have to pull out the credit card very often.
Right.
Now, that's what you would love to have.
Their credit card was the NFL.
That's what you would
NFL
love
drinks.
to have as a college football coach, as a recruiter, is you have the ability of NIL, but it is not the first thing you talk about. But the next guy that is not Nick is not Saban and might have to rely more on the credit card. So Aaron asked, and this is what I'm leading into. He said, do you think Bama would entertain Vrabel? It has to be a college guy.
I think so too. Yep.
College football is so much different these days that it has to be somebody that has had success. And we're talking, let's go with Norvell and DeBoer, who appear to be the two top guys. They've had success in college. They understand the landscape of college. It would not be a seamless transition, but it would not be, okay, I got to teach you this, this, and this.
And that's where I'd even maybe push back on people who think if Ryan Day would ever be out soon, that Vrabel, depending on where he is, would be an ideal fit, because I totally agree. You've got to be entrenched into the college battles, into the recruiting battles, knowing how it works now, knowing how the calendar works now. And so I don't think that is an easy thing for a head coach. And Matt Rule is probably experiencing this as well, where at least he wasn't so far removed from it. But when he came back too, there was a lot that had changed even in the couple of years that he was in Carolina in the NFL. I think for anybody that looks at what Alabama was able to do, I think of those programs, and I think Dabo has gotten too comfortable with that, because now they clearly need to play the game, if you will, when it comes to NIL transfer portal. But for Alabama to be able to say, yeah, we've got all those things at our disposal if we need them, but we don't because we have the NFL, because we can show that. To me, I'm really fascinated. Let's say it's DeBoer or Norvell. Is that going to the brand and the once you set foot at Alabama, your clock is ticking to the time that you will hear your name in the NFL draft? Will that continue seamlessly just based on reputation with Alabama? Or is that going to be kind of taking a little bit of a pause to wait and see, okay, what does the next head coach do from that aspect? Because the money that these guys are getting in college with NIL is great, and it's keeping a lot of kids probably sticking around a little bit longer.
That's a key point. I think NIL is changing.
Yeah.
I think NIL is changing in college in terms of less recruitment, more retention. I think where you'll see that is college basketball.
Big time. Absolutely big time.
Hey, if you're a second-round guy, let me talk to you about sticking around for another year. And let's see if we can get you a first-round guy. It's called the Trey Alexander plan.
Well, guys, even to...
I do. I think it's going to... I think we're now, 2 years of NIL? And it's been all over the map. And we don't know.
It's the Wild West.
We don't know where it's going, because there's a lot of people that are involved right now trying to figure out the next step. I think we're going to see a transition when smart people in the college world go, man, we might be better off using it for retention over recruitment, because maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm old, and I want to latch onto this. Loyalty in college athletics at some point is going to matter.
I will agree, and I'll use an older example pre-NIL time. And Jimmy, you remember this team. They ended up losing to Kentucky in 2012, but that 2012 KU team. I mean, they were okay.
They were better in 13, but they got Trey Burke.
They were older. And that wasn't your typical, like they had a bunch of, like Thomas Robinson was pretty good.
Well, that Connor Tehan starting.
Yeah. Like Jeff Withey. I mean, these weren't guys that were household names, yet they were old. He held on to that roster. There was maybe a few freshmen that had an impact, but
Macklemore came a year later, who they were hoping to have for that 12 season, and they couldn't get it worked out.
And I remember as you're watching this Kansas team, like one of my favorite college basketball players, because he was just a presence, but he didn't do anything that was wow, was Travis Relaford. And so you're watching sort of this kind of veteran, old ragtag type team.
He was a glue guy too.
Versus the AD one and done Kentucky model. And yes, they lost because Kentucky was so far more talented, but it went to show that you can have the talent. I mean, there are going to be programs that just recruit at a high level regardless, but the ability to retain, the ability to not have to turn over the roster year in and year out is huge. And it ultimately, when you have those brands that recruit well, but they don't have that constant turn, those are the ones, if we ever see a dynasty, those are the ones that are always going to be in the mix.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk some hoops coming up next. Nebraska's at Iowa tonight. The game is on. Nebraska's in Iowa City, so they'll play the game. St. John's and Creighton tomorrow at noon. Omaha, North Dakota State tomorrow at 7. Pretty good weekend of hoops. Could it end with two locals, red and blue, Nebraska being ranked on Monday morning? It's 8:24. This morning's with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone. Hey, the regular season was a great year. TV ratings were great. You all went to FanDuel. You had fun on FanDuel. Well, you can have fun even more on NFL SuperCard Wildcard Weekend. 6 games, 3 days. It's win or go home. The narratives will be established, but you always have a spot in the playoffs with FanDuel. You won't be knocked out. It's America's #1 sports book. It is a friend of the NFL. It's a friend of you, and there are so many ways right now for you to pick up a W.
That's right, and then with the game starting tomorrow, I'll tell you what, home teams might be the way to go. You got Texans. The Texans are getting to. The Chiefs are a home favorite in frigid cold against the Fins, and a lot more on Sunday and even Monday that you need to look at. So if you want to follow any of that, hey, new customers, you get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com, use the promo code ZONE, that's FanDuel.com/zone, and join today. That's FanDuel.com/zone. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com. Previously on The Crossover.
Brian says after the 0-2 Jamal Lord INT Texas game, I went outside and lit a Husker car flag on fire.
Oh, my God.
I was so angry. The next morning, my mother found a pink glob goo outside and thought someone got sick from alcohol.
How does lighting a flag on fire turn into something that looks like pink vomit?
Those flags are a weird material.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Winter storm warning continues Friday with snow, wind, and extreme cold. Expect an additional 2 to 4 inches to accumulate through the early afternoon, bringing storm totals in the metro closer to 7 to 10 inches. Northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour will cause near whiteout conditions and blowing snow concerns into the evening. Highs in the single digits with wind chills 10 to 20 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dreamtime Saving Traffic Center, want to give a quick update on the accidents. We got a report of car stall in the middle lane on westbound 90th and Dodge. A quick reminder, the roads are covered with snow and ice, so expect blowing snow, dangerous wind chills, and low visibility. So my advice for you is to take it slow and steady. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Sometimes life throws you a curveball and you need a solution fast. A solution to help you make payroll, to save your house, to keep growing, or fund a startup, to fix a roof or other major repair. Saul's is your fast, local, confidential solution. Get the cash you need today with Saul's.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery. Make the right call.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
There's a reason people are joining the movement behind Nikki Haley.
She's a very, very successful governor.
Haley shows us what American foreign policy looks like with a spine.
Your family deserves a president with grit and grace, a different style, not a name from the past. Nikki Haley will secure our border, restore our economy, and make our nation respected once more. Listen to Nikki Haley.
Our moment is now. Our mission is clear. Let's save our country and secure our future, and let's move forward together toward our destiny in a strong and proud America.
Iowa, it's time to caucus. Go to NikkiHaley.com/Iowa to learn more. And on Monday, January 15th, don't forget to caucus for a new generation of conservative leadership. That's NikkiHaley.com/Iowa.
I'm Nikki Haley, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Nikki Haley for president.
The GOAT is coming to Kansas City. Sporting KC will host Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time, at the loudest stadium in the world. See Johnny Russell, Alan Polito, and the rest of your hometown team take on Messi, Luis Suarez, and more at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on Saturday, April 13th. It's the soccer capital of America versus the greatest of all time. Get your tickets while you still can at sportingkc.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, still have time to go to 1620 The Zone. We have our pro football pick'em for the playoffs. You can compete against us for prizes. Cash.
$500, all in one.
This isn't a national contest. It's a local contest. You got to go to 1620 The Zone.com. Playoff kickoff tomorrow. All the teams playing this weekend have at least 5 losses. Who do we trust the most out of these super wild card teams?
Trust the most, I would say, this is going to sound really funny. I'm going to say the Cowboys.
No, it's not funny. I agree. At home, their home field advantage, I think, is kind of going to be overblown. Yeah. But in Dallas' case, they are so much different playing at home, especially offensively, than they are on the road. No, I'm with you. I think you don't have to apologize. I think Dallas is the team that I would trust the most.
I was apologizing to Jimmy. I didn't know.
Chief meteorologist Josh Peterson is responsible for the optimistic. I'll just be the all right. Well, let's prepare the nuts. The kick's coming. I don't think it's coming this weekend, but it's coming.
And you know what? As much as it pains me to say, Green Bay is, I think, a dangerous prospect for a lot of teams because I mean it's the youngest team ever to make the playoffs. So there's that part of it where they're playing good football.
As long as 12
their
doesn't
running
walk
game is
out on
back,
that field, we're good.
But their defense, up front looked okay against Chicago, but Chicago offensive line is not all that solid at all. I'm gonna say that's where Cowboys, I think, have their way with Green Bay. I think they will pick apart Green Bay's defense.
Now, right behind them, because I think if a team's going to come out of a super wild card weekend and make a run, I can't believe this.
I think I know where you're going.
They need to have me on the afternoon show because the Cowboys are the team I trust the most this weekend, even ahead of my team. The LA Rams.
Wow.
I think Sean McVay has done a fantastic job this year with the Rams. Look at their offensive weapons.
Mm-hmm.
John Bishop just fell out of bed right now.
Well,
they don't have the same type of offensive weapons that they've. I mean, this is
Aaron Donald still playing?
Yeah, you don't hear much about that either. But yes, their offensive weapons are nowhere near what they had before. I could even get on board to say this is probably Sean McVay's best coaching job, given what he's had at his disposal. I don't even know if it's close because the Super Bowl winning team and the teams that have gone the furthest have had a wealth of talent, especially on the offensive side. That's not the case this year with that team. Detroit.
Good story, but
It
Dan
is.
Campbell hasn't been to the postseason.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some decisions that will happen Sunday night that, they don't always work out when you get to the postseason. Plus, I worry about the Lions secondary in this game. Hey, Matthew Stafford throwing to Nakua, throwing to Kupp, handing the ball to Williams. And I would not surprise me if the Rams make a run, and it's the Rams and the Niners in the NFC Championship game.
That would be something. I'm wanting, and this sounds really crazy. As far as the team, the second team that I buy into the most, at least just given this weekend, it sounds crazy, but Buffalo. I think Buffalo is starting to kind of turn it around a little bit. You're still going to get the Josh Allen experience, which I think you just got to have to embrace right now. But between the way that Cook and they're running the football too, defensively, they're kind of getting a little bit more on point. I'm sorry, but and again, if we're just talking about this weekend right now, Mason Rudolph does nothing for me. And I think that's a game that it really does. And yeah, the point spread is what it is. But as far as teams that I trust that at least are someone to keep an eye on beyond this week, Buffalo seems to maybe start to figure things out a little bit. And so they might be number 2 on my
But haven't
trust
they figured
level.
it out, though?
Yeah.
They're on a 5-game run. They've had some impressive victories.
They win 20
I think they figured it out.
Compared to what they look like, though, in the middle of the season, where we're like, they're going to make the playoffs.
They win 20 to 3.
Yeah,
Chiefs
I don't think they're
week.
starting to figure it out.
Yeah,
I think
maybe that's the wrong way to say it. Of the way that they ended the season, though, I think they are where they feel a lot more comfortable than they were over a month ago.
I wish Pittsburgh had T.J. Watt.
Yep, that's also big. That's a killer.
Mason Rudolph on the road.
Yeah.
Where Buffalo's won 13 of 15, the last 15 home playoff games. Now, they get beat by Cincinnati last year, but they got beat by Joe Burrow.
Right.
And they got beat by a really good Bengals team, who people forget got beat by a Chiefs team in the AFC Championship game.
Did they?
Who went on to beat a Eagle team, which was much better than they are currently.
So I feel like you do a good job of not having your fandom glasses on here. Where do you put the Chiefs in sort of your overall trust level right now? Because I think Saturday night I think tomorrow night is a perfect setup for them, but beyond.
I would like that. Well, remember, so here's where the Chiefs are different because their identity is different. They're a defensive-based team.
Yeah.
Where if they're going to make the Super Bowl, it's going to be because of the defense. I don't think the offense all of a sudden is going to change. The drops are going to be there. The good thing about it being cold is that Tony will go away, or it might be snowing, so you won't be able to see if he's offside or not. So they're going to be strictly
all the advantage.
They're going to be strictly defense, but there is some pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, whether it's the wide receivers or not, Mahomes has not had a very good year. He is, I don't know, he's still trying to be Patrick Mahomes with the receiving options that are named Tyreek Hill and Juju Schuster, and he hasn't adjusted, and so he hasn't been the magician. So there's a little, and I know it's not going to change his legacy or anything if they lose tomorrow night or they go to Buffalo and get knocked out in the second round. But he has to be better. So does Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Kansas City stars have to be stars in the postseason. But I've said this, they're either a one and done or they're a run to the Super Bowl. I think they're a win tomorrow night, but I don't see them going much further because they have some deficiencies. But with that defense, you never know. I mean, it's not like Buffalo put up a huge number on them when they played a couple of weeks ago.
Are we going to see playoff Joe Flacco?
From which
year?
year?
And for, the playoff Joe that turned him into an elite quarterback, got him the deal where he didn't throw a pick in the postseason at all in the Super Bowl run. But I really do want to get on board the Texans in this one. But this is, again, where you go to what has been a great story. Now you get into playoff time where it comes to not necessarily DeMeco Ryans, but C.J. Stroud against that defense. This one, I think, probably has a chance to be one of the better games.
Yeah, but the only thing I'm cautious, I love C.J. Stroud. I think the Texans are in a good spot. First-year quarterback in the playoffs.
Right. 100%.
Against a great defense.
Yep. even with Joe Flacco as your QB. I just think that I'll be honest, I'll be kind of rooting for Houston because I think what they've been able to do, and given that the state of that organization, especially the last days of Deshaun Watson, I mean, I thought it would take a while. And C.J. Stroud compared to Bryce Young, a lot of people were saying, okay, C.J. Stroud with the Texans, how long is that going to take for him to kind of get going? What he's done this year has been so impressive. But as anybody will tell you that has experienced it too, you get in the playoffs, it is a completely different animal. So, and again, that matchup right there is key. What has been an electric quarterback, and his efficiency has been so good, but you're going up against a very seasoned veteran defense like that. I don't love this for Houston.
Hey, we may not love tonight in Iowa City. How long do you think it takes? Is tonight winning on the road for Nebraska basketball, which their problem on the road is they don't play defense, and Iowa can score. Iowa didn't play defense, but Iowa can score. And even though it has been a choppy year for Iowa, I can't overlook they were pretty good against Rutgers out in New Jersey last weekend. They're going to score a lot of points tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They may give up a lot of points. Nebraska's trouble on the road is, in the Big Ten, is they don't play defense. But as an underdog tonight, on the heels of what happened on Wednesday night at Pinnacle Bank Arena, was it Wednesday night? Tuesday night.
Tuesday. I know, I did it too. I thought it was Wednesday.
It's been a weird
week. This week is all coming together. Would it exercise the Nebraska basketball ghosts of the past? Because I get the hesitancy about tonight is that past history tells you Nebraska basketball will lay an egg in Iowa City. They will get beat by Iowa, even though they're an underdog, a team that you go, aren't we better than them?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of what they did on Tuesday night where you went, okay, I think a win tonight in Iowa City might, not on Selection Sunday, but might carry more weight in the psyche of a Nebraska basketball fan looking at the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah.
By winning tonight on the road where you're not supposed to win because you haven't won on the road. It's just not Nebraska basketball. You win on the road when big things aren't on the line. You win on the road when you're 500 and you go to Iowa City and you win and people go, oh, man, that's cool, but doesn't mean anything on Selection Sunday. If you win tonight, it might carry more of, okay, all right, than what Tuesday happened against Purdue.
I'm 100% with you. And since the end of that game, this one has made me nervous because of the quick turnaround, type of energy that they had to put in defensively. And again, the narrative, because it's real. There is that narrative of when we've seen Nebraska have major success in just a 2-half performance. Typically, you're followed up with the team that wasn't, think of any of Nebraska's best wins over the last decade. Usually you're following that game up with a team that is not as talented. And so you want to let yourself believe like, well, if we can beat them, then we obviously can beat this team. And tonight, the elements, again, are so different. You're not going to have a lot of people at the game, but also having a quick turnaround. But maybe more importantly, when it comes to believing in this team is handling success. You just won the biggest game in the Fred Hoiberg era, and you're going into a place that is in a team that is good enough if you mess around a little bit, and a team that does just enough things that could possibly frustrate you. Like Iowa doesn't turn the ball over that much. So how is your defense going to create that? How are you going to be able to, as far as what Nebraska been able to do off of turnovers, how are you going to be able to get them in uncomfortable situations? So a lot of different things of how Nebraska duplicates success is kind of maybe the last thing I'm waiting to see. Now, I want to be perfectly clear. If they were to lose tonight, I'm not going to say, oh, okay, it's same old Nebraska, because I am convinced that they are different. But to what lengths, what heights can this team reach? If they win tonight, I don't care if this is sounding like, okay, now you're getting a little carried away. If they win tonight, I think you start talking about a team that could potentially be seeing a double bye when it comes to the Big Ten tournament.
They're a 9 seed on bracketwag.com this morning. The total, I just looked this up. So Iowa averages 87 a game. Nebraska's scoring big numbers. Nebraska's shooting the 3-ball well in the last 3 games. What do you guys think the total is? So the line on FanDuel, by the way, is now jumped up to 4.5. Iowa's a 4.5-point favorite tonight. What do you think the total is in this game?
148.
156.5.
Now, I just gave you some numbers on what Iowa scores per game.
And Nebraska scoring better.
What did you say?
148.
No. Higher.
I go 156.5.
Higher.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so
167.
165.5.
Holy hell.
Yeah. That seems about right for
That's
this
a good game.
We're going to get an 82-81.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty.
Now, here's
Be
another
fun.
part, here's another part about where Nebraska's at. Okay, it's nice. Shelby Mass from USA Today has Nebraska as a 9 seed. He's one of the guys that every single morning updates it. He's got Creighton as a 5 seed. By
fair.
the way, he has St. John's as the last 4 in. Motivation for Patino tomorrow.
That's it.
I think you have to have a serious conversation here. Now, I disagree with Shelby, but it's January 12th. He's got 7 teams from the Big Ten in. Boys, we have to have a real conversation that the Big Ten may not be Big Ten past, where they're getting 7 teams in. The Big Ten may get 5.
Yeah.
So you do the math. Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin are going to gobble up 3 of those.
Yep.
If it's 5, you got to make sure that you are not sitting on the bubble.
Right. You cannot be team 7 or 6 right now.
Now that's
and this
that's
is where
a
your
little bit
resume is going to be
that's a
important.
little bit further down the road. But I just don't think the Big Ten. So watching that game last night, so Illinois beats Michigan State. Michigan State competed better, but Michigan State, you could tell me about its Izzo time. They're going to be running out of time.
Yeah.
I mean, to add anything of significance to their win total.
Yeah, their best win's Baylor.
Is you got to make sure that if this isn't another year where Nebraska has a good year record-wise, but it's the year where the Big Ten
is down,
gets shut out.
and your strength of schedule then all of a sudden really comes into play too. Because in a year
that's another part of it. Good point.
A year that you thought, hey, you know what? Our conference is our conference. We don't have to worry about that. Let's just stack some wins. We get into conference play. It's going to take care of itself. So that strength of schedule is going to be secondary. Well, now you're in a moment, and there's still some time for the Big Ten to sort of get its crap in order. But you're right. Not only Michigan State, but the Big Ten from a strength of conference standpoint is also running out of time too, where that needs to look better. So the strength of schedule now all of a sudden starts to concern you, especially if you have a couple of hiccups here along the way in conference play.
So I've seen a lot of projections. Like Ken Palm has Nebraska's final record is 22-9. They're 13-3 right now.
It's pretty good. All are good.
I've said you got to get to 20, but I think it's also the type of win.
A 22-9, a 20. I don't care.
Type of win on Tuesday night. That's going to go a long way.
Yes,
because Purdue's still in the 1 seed discussion.
Yeah, 22-9. It gets you in. There's no question.
Isn't this great though? We're having this conversation on January 12th.
I know.
Thank you, Fred.
This is part of the goal.
Do not when I'm at Bagel Bin tomorrow and wearing my Carhartts. I don't want to be in a bad mood, Fred. Don't F it up tonight, okay?
Today's National Bagel Day.
I'm telling you, I'm not sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
today
you
is?
probably shouldn't get out and get one today if you're listening,
postpone
but
it tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Carry it into tomorrow.
Hot take. We need more local quality bagel shops in Omaha. But continue on.
Yeah, I don't want to overdo it on this game, but I'm telling you, if they win this game, I think it puts Nebraska in a conversation that I did not think we'd be having about Nebraska when it comes to their place in the Big Ten. When it comes to because remember,
I think it's more of an internal conversation than if they win today, it's not going to resonate. It's a win. A win is more internal than it is external nationally.
Oh, nationally, absolutely. But but locally having this conversation too, jokingly maybe, and I know you were a little bit more optimistic about what Nebraska could be this year than I was, but I'd say I just wanted to see them get off the Wednesday line in the Big Ten tournament.
Yep.
If they win tonight, I'm serious when I say this. Also, given the climate of the Big Ten, you start to at least entertain what I think is a realistic possibility that they get a double bye, meaning you're a top 4 seed. To me, that would be unfathomable given where they've been to make that type of jump. Now, that is also possibly taking advantage of a Big Ten that's down. As we just discussed, though, how that could hurt you. Winning tonight in Iowa City, to me, shows a lot of chops. Shows that you are more than just the flash in the pan in a big game every now and then. That there I agree. I don't care what happens tonight. This is a different team than what we've seen in the past. But if you want to go from a different team to a special team, you win tonight.
He's got Northwestern. So if you're talking about a double bye, you got 3 slots aren't going to be they're going to stay the way they are.
So you're trying to be number 4, and that's where I'm going.
And that's where Northwestern is right now. And then he's got Northwestern as an 8 seed, Nebraska as a 9 seed.
Not much separation there. I mean, when it comes to resumes and where you fit in the pecking order.
Well, he's got Michigan State in a play-in game as an 11 seed.
Taking a leap of faith there.
No, he has Ohio. So he has Ohio State as a 6 seed. So in his bracket, he has 7 from the Big Ten, and Nebraska is the 6th team. I don't know if the Big Ten gets 7.
I don't either.
You got to be careful. You got to be really, really careful.
Wouldn't shock me. It's a 5. 6 feels about right. Wouldn't shock me if it's 5.
All right, Mike Schaefer coming up after the top of the next hour. Getting light outside. It's white. It's light and white.
Light and white on a Friday.
That's what they called me when I came out of the womb. 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, offers exterior solutions that help you protect your #1 investment. Whether it's roofing and siding or windows and doors, they're committed to excellence, quality, and outstanding customer service in every step of the process. When it's time to protect the exterior of your home, your choice is simple. Turn to who the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Check them out online and schedule a free estimate today. J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
42 Degrees wants to start your year off right with hot deals on our top health and wellness products. Our best-selling Kratom extracts up to 20% off. Delta products starting at $4.99. You want to save up to 25% on the best premium flour in town? Then hurry down to any one of our 10 convenient locations and let the knowledgeable and friendly staff show you why 42 Degrees is the source for all your needs. Buy your mom's house.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's cold outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink Nebraska-brewed beer, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
The world's on fire. Attacks in the Middle East. Ukraine and Russia at war. And right here, Joe Biden has created a dangerous threat to every American. Biden's open border policies have opened the floodgates to a record number streaming in, 12,000 in one day alone. This means increased terrorist threats and even more deadly fentanyl being delivered to our neighborhoods. President Trump will change that. He'll secure our borders by building even more wall. He'll end visitors from terrorist countries being allowed to enter. And Trump will treat the drug cartels the same as he treated terrorists who kill Americans. President Trump, the strength to protect our borders and our families.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024, Inc.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Since 1972, family-owned and locally roasted Host Coffee Service has been roasting the finest coffee for businesses and restaurants. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands. at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, something to warm your cockles on a Friday.
A McGriddle.
How was that?
It's so good. It's been a while, but it never disappoints.
Too bad I didn't have chicken in it for you.
I would have turned it away. Is today a day that I should try chicken biscuits?
You can try everything.
A chicken biscuit?
Well, you've never had a chicken biscuit?
I told you we had this conversation. I said I've never got. No, yes,
Did I
you
look
were.
like John Schreiner?
No,
Jimmy Allen.
You were here, and you guys looked at me like I was
Joe
crazy.
Quinn?
No.
Who else you work with? Do I look like Chris Schmidt?
You thought I was crazy because I never tried. You guys all thought I was crazy because I never did the old chicken breakfast biscuit thing. Because I think it's weird.
You ever had a biscuit? You ever had biscuits and gravy?
Yes.
Comes in
I
spicy.
love biscuits and gravy. I like biscuits and gravy with sausage, though. I'm still not on board with the chicken as my meat of choice on a biscuit sandwich for breakfast.
Why do you hate Chick-fil-A?
I don't. I just don't do their breakfast.
Nick's just out on big chicken.
Their breakfast is really good.
I've heard people say
they got rid of an item on there that have had some speaks with the guy that runs the one on Dodge Street.
Yeah.
They used to have a chicken, egg, and cheese on a bagel.
Yes.
And they got rid of it.
It was good.
That's the only reason I would go to, because I don't really live near a Chick-fil-A. I would go there for breakfast. I'd go out of my way, and one day I went there, and it wasn't on the menu. And
You're all excited to have
I was
it.
quite disappointed. The guy goes, "Well, we can give you 2 diet lemonades."
What? There's diet lemonade?
Yeah. Their coffee isn't very good.
Yeah. And it comes in like tiny.
Maybe someday, guys. I don't understand it. I know it's a big deal. I just don't understand it. I like chicken. I just don't like chicken for breakfast. End of story.
You like steak and eggs?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was exposed to that at a younger stage of my life, the impressionable years.
Your dad was an overnight worker. He was a 11 to 7er.
No, but we
roll in and have a little cocktail and some steak and eggs at 8:00 in the morning.
Oh, a little glass of scotch. No, he didn't do that, but we were a family that enjoyed dinner. So we would do a little breakfast for dinner. And we'd have a steak every now and then, and I always loved that. So I was able to make the association of not just having a steak for dinner or the occasional lunch, but also for breakfast. I was never exposed to chicken as a breakfast item.
I lived with someone briefly that was doing a diet where they went backwards. So they would get up and they would start with what you would have for dinner.
Ooh, weird.
And then their lunch was the middle portion, and then breakfast would be at night. So they would start with a big meal right out of the day to start the metabolism.
Okay. I've heard of a lot of diet. That one I've never heard
I wonder
of.
where they are today. I've lost touch with them. I wonder if they're getting the shot. What if they're Ozemping it? Who isn't? Who isn't getting the shot? No.
Ozempic.
That commercial's god awful.
It is bad.
But who isn't getting the shot?
Who isn't diabetic?
I made the mistake of running into somebody who I had not seen for a while over the Christmas break, and I'm like, man, you look good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in our mid-40s, and I was like, then I went, are you working out? I go, how are you dropping this weight?
Got the shot?
Got the shot.
Okay.
Like, oh, okay.
So your curls come with a needle on you.
Kudos on you, I guess. Mike Schaefer, who is not getting the shot.
Hey, you said someone was going to warm our cockles, though. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Mike Schaefer's?
No, you said something. Well, you said something was going to warm our cockles, and I interrupted you with what, a McGriddle?
Yeah, I lost my train.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
I forgot what I said. The Curb Your Enthusiasm final season trailer is out. Come on, Larry.
Yeah.
Come on, Larry.
Don't disappoint.
All right, Chafe, Vers, Bieds, all coming last hour. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio. This is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dream Time Saving Traffic Center. Heads up, westbound L is closed between 48th and 50th due to an accident caused by a jackknife tractor trailer. Also, westbound Dodge has been cleared approaching 90th. A quick reminder that the roads are covered with snow and ice, so expect blowing and drifting snow, dangerous wind chills, and slick road conditions. My advice for you is to take it slow and steady. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Zoom Drain.
Dealing with any type of plumbing issue can be overwhelming, especially if it's related to your drain or sewer lines. Thankfully, Zoom Drain specializes in drain and sewer services of all scopes. Contact Zoom Drain anytime by logging on to zoomdrain.com.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists.
Here's a fact that doesn't seem to get mentioned enough. Owning a home actually helps you build personal wealth. Homeownership is a huge factor in building personal wealth. There are some naysayers who say it's too expensive, but rates will come down, and when they do, the competition is going to be fierce. One financial statistic shows that the net worth of those that own a home is 40 times greater than those that rent. So maybe take a few minutes to call me at Mortgage Specialists to go through the reasons why, even though the current market is different, why it's always a good time to buy a home to build your net worth. I'm Brent Rasmussen. Call me at Mortgage Specialists and we can show you all the details. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
Our free 2024 Gold Investment Guide isn't just a collection of tips. It's a treasure map to possible wealth in a shifting economy. We've distilled expertise and insights into this comprehensive guide, tailored for both newcomers and veteran investors. Ride the wave of gold to unprecedented heights. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 for your free guide. Call 800-900-8000 now.
Progressive asks, what do an escaped leopard,
We're live from the zoo where a leopard has escaped.
a growling stomach, an uneaten tuna sandwich, and a backdoor doggy door have in common? They can lead to an unexpected kitchen renovation.
Yeah, hi. Is this the zoo? Your leopard is in my kitchen.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive for great savings and round-the-clock protection.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, voice of Omaha men's basketball. The takeover of the Dakotas continues on Saturday night at Baxter Arena when the Omaha men's basketball team takes on the Bison of North Dakota State in a big Summit League showdown. 6:30 airtime on 1180 The Zone. Tip-off 7 o'clock.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, last hour on a Friday. Good week, everybody. Who would have thought that the Michigan National Championship on Monday would not be the top story in college football? Mike Schaefer is always the top story at 9 o'clock on Friday mornings. He joins us from Husker 24/7. Morning, Schaefer.
Good morning. How are we doing?
We're doing well. How are the roads? How was the storm in Lincoln?
the roads are terrible because Lincoln doesn't believe in clearing them or treating them or even acknowledging that there might be snow.
I feel like Jordy Ball. I just lofted that softball up.
You know, it wasn't terrible. It took about 40 minutes to clear out the driveway this morning. We got on the road, sitting outside of Brian, waiting to go in for a checkup here. So, you know, I was amazed they didn't cancel. I assumed I was going to avoid it today, but no. So here we are. No, things are good. It seems like it's going to be miserable all day.
Yeah.
But the good news is I have tickets to go to WWE SmackDown. So clearly they're not going to cancel. So I'll be out for that later tonight.
I have tickets to go see real wrestling at the Devaney Center.
Oh, isn't that amazing? You get both of them going on at the same time.
Hey, where's Rule going? Is he going to the real one or the fake one?
Oh, he bleeds red.
I would hope he goes to the real one, but I know he's been to the fake one.
Hey, well, there's sometimes when coaches say they're staying, we don't believe them. Now we believe Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning in the Big Ten will mean what for the other 17 teams?
You know, I didn't realize this. I found out from a friend yesterday. Dan Lanning was a former high school coach in Missouri. Like, he knows the Midwest well. This guy has a remarkable story to be where he's at. Saw the video and just kind of the way that he has treated Oregon since he's been there. I mean, you can just kind of feel like he is a kind of a star in college football already. They haven't won anything of major note at this point, but you can just tell the way he recruits, the way he operates, the way that they put things together, the way they're built. I mean, they come in right away. It'd be weird to say that they're not maybe the presumptive favorite in the conference, that they're just joining. I mean, I don't know what Ohio State's going to be now. With Will Howard, it looks a little bit better than when it didn't look like they were going to get a transfer portal quarterback. But Michigan, I expect to take a step back. You know, Penn State, it's hard to know if they're ever going to make the big jump forward. Washington's going to take a step back. And I think that just leads to Oregon looking like they're going to come in, even as they have their own transfer situation with Dylan Gabriel. But I think Oregon's going to come in as the sort of the team to beat in their first year in the Big Ten. And a lot of it is, I think, the confidence in what Dan Lanning has built in his couple years up there in Eugene.
Hey, the Nick Saban exit from Alabama, and I know this all depends on who the coach is, but as far as the brand, what he's been able to provide to recruits, is there a feeling that the whole the NFL pathway and everything that is so enticing about Alabama, you know, besides the winning as well, is there a feel like there could be a little bit of a pause with that, or do you think that the brand carries on regardless of who they get?
Well, it's still going to be Alabama, just like it was still Nebraska. But if you screw it up 4 straight times, I mean, you can dilute your value pretty quickly. So, I mean, it's an important hire, but it's also important for the coaches making that decision to acknowledge, do I want to be the guy that follows Nick Saban? And I think for a Dan Lanning, for some of these guys, it's not exactly enticing.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want someone else to come in there and maybe don't do so well, and then you get the opportunity to bring it back. But it's really going to come down to who they get, how they fit. You know, for years, Nick Saban had everything under his thumb. And you look next door at Auburn, and nothing's ever been under the thumb at Auburn. But I think it could be more like that at Alabama without a guy like Nick Saban. And that's a tough situation to win in. I mean, you know, you've got to keep the boosters happy. You have to keep a fan base that's going to have sky-high expectations happy. You've got players that are going to be willing to leave because you're not Nick Saban. Like, it's going to be a difficult transition and a difficult job for whoever takes it. So they kind of have to find both a guy that can coach and a guy that's a little bit of a force of personality that can work with players and boosters. And if that was easy to find, there'd be a lot better teams in college football throughout. It's difficult. That's why I find it funny. You see names thrown out there and people are like, well, why in the world would they hire that guy? And it's like, well, they got to hire somebody. Yeah. And there's really not like an amazing list of candidates for them to pick from.
All right, for the next 30 weeks, every Friday, except for when you go on maternity leave, I'm going to ask you about Dylan Raiola leading into the season. It came out yesterday that when Banks was on his visit, his future quarterback played catch with him. He had a throwing session on Thursday. Shafe, how do you not say that Nebraska's quarterback in 2024 is not a miracle worker? Because there's people that are very giddy, but there's also people that are saying, we got to have some patience with this guy. How are we going to balance this? Because it seems like every day we're hearing a story about what he's doing behind the scenes with guys that he is recruiting or guys that might be involved in play calling?
There's a pretty easy way to balance it. None of it matters until they play a game on Saturday against UTEP in August. Like,
ruined all the fun.
It matters. It does, because you love the idea of what he's doing with the team building. You love the fact that he's getting involved with Isaiah Nair and Jamal Banks, two veteran receivers, and you love that he has the ability and the cachet as a player that these guys are like, I'm going to bet on a true freshman. You love that Nebraska is comfortable enough that they haven't gone and gotten another quarterback. You like all of these things. You file it all away, and then you remember ultimately what's going to matter is how it happens on Saturday against UTEP and every subsequent Saturday after that Nebraska has a game. And I think people want to be able to just be carefree with their belief that this is just going to be fantastic right away. And you have to remember, he's an 18-year-old freshman. Like, he might have been groomed for this moment his entire life, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go fantastic. And so the important thing to me is, yes, it's great that he was throwing with those guys, but Nebraska has to keep building around him. I love that they were able to pick up Mike Mazuka. I love that they can continue he's going to have a veteran offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You added a high upside running back in Dante Dowdell. Keep giving him things around him so that it's easier for Dylan to have success, that it's easier for this picture to all come together, instead of the classic Nebraska nature of, all right, man, you go put the team on your back. You got those big, strong shoulders.
Yeah, roll the ball
carry
out
the
there.
whole weight of the franchise. And that's what they have to avoid. And I think they're doing a good job piecing things around him. But I think it's also important for everyone to acknowledge that it's not just going to be flip the switch and it's just going to be fantastic right away.
Hey, Stephon Thompson, and if people have seen him play or we're watching some film here as of late, Gary brought this up too. I noticed this. He does play a little bit, at least more on the outside of the edge. Is there a belief, though, that he will be able to maybe fill in an inside linebacker void, even with the way that we've kind of seen him aligned?
Yeah, what's interesting is I don't know that how Tony White necessarily did things at Syracuse is what he's doing all the time with Nebraska in the Big Ten. And so I wondered, too, if Stephon Thompson wouldn't be more like a Luke Reimer, playing more in the middle. But ultimately, they talk about this all the time. It's a positionless defense. Where he lines up to start the play is not necessarily what his position might actually be. And I think they just like the fact that when the guy hits people, they go down. I mean, the numbers that he didn't miss a tackle in this 2023 season for the advanced numbers, it's pretty remarkable. And I mean, Nebraska lost a couple linebackers that I felt like it was a little bit unsung at one point, like what that loss was going to be, to replace them with a guy that knows Tony White, that is a veteran, that has 2 years to play, and wants to be in a conference like the Big Ten where he can go up against, these NFL-style offenses and NFL-style linemen and running backs and everything else. I think it's a big bet on his future, and I think he's going to be a really kind of important player. I would put him toward, the top of this transfer portal edition list, because I think he's going to step in and play immediately and going to be helpful, I think, almost immediately, too.
Yeah, I wonder if I agree with you, and I wonder if there'll be some movement by guys like cross-training at linebacker in spring. With that said, offense or defense, Shafe, as this roster is kind of, they could still add some guys, but for the most part, they've gotten their dudes that they pegged. What position group now draws your view of the one you're going to watch the most when we get to spring ball?
It's going to be the skill positions on offense. I'm going to cheat and I'm going to take both running back and wide receiver because it's so critical to what this has to be, right? Like, they need Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair. They need one of those guys to be serviceable all year. It'd be great if they got both of them. They need Jalen Lloyd to make a jump. They need Malachi Coleman to make a jump. They need Demetrius Bell to be who they think that he is. They need Jaden Doss to be healthy. They have all of these options. They just need the development piece of it. And those guys have to grow, and they have to grow pretty quickly. But if they do, and if Dylan Raiola has this deep ball and has the ability to throw how the evaluators at 24/7 feel he does, suddenly Nebraska has options down the field that they could not really hit last year, and then they become a pretty dangerous team. I feel really comfortable about the defense. I do. I was thinking the other day, you know who we forget about all the time? Deshaun Singleton. That's a guy that's going to come back. They loved him. And he is someone that I think, if I was like, okay, Mike, bet on a guy who's going to have a big year if he's healthy, I'd bet on Deshaun Singleton. I think he is going to be the Omar Brown type guy. I think he is going to be a great player in their secondary. They have some guys that we've forgotten about that I think are going to put in some good performances next fall.
Hey, I know you got to go. Quick one. Is all of the portal additions except for Bazooka going to be here for spring ball?
As far as I know, they are. And I know that Nair is and Dowdell is, Banks is. And so I haven't talked with Thompson yet. I think that'd be the one, but I anticipate that he would be as well. So, I mean, the team's supposed to report tomorrow. We'll see how much the weather affects some of it for some of those guys. What a great weekend for the guys from the South to come up for their first real experience. But yeah, I think they're expected to be here.
Also, one other quick thing on the heels of that. I know I'm running out of time here.
You're good.
How many of the guys that signed in December will be here tomorrow and moving forward? Don't they have?
I don't have.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't have the approximate list. I think it's double digits, but real quickly, Bricks, Pyle, obviously Raiola. You have a handful of the defenders. I believe Mario Buford is one of them. Evan Taylor, the defensive back that tore every ligament in his knee. He's going to be rehabbing up here over the winter. Ja'Cory Barney is expected to be up here as well. I believe Willis McGahee. I think Larry Tarver. They have 29 signings. I have to remind myself of that. I mean, they basically added an additional 34 players, plus they had 41 last year. So 75 new players in a 2-year stretch for Matt Rule, or really not even a 2-year stretch, 13, 14-month stretch. It's remarkable how much turnover they have. They'll have a lot of new faces this spring, and that'll make spring ball fun to cover.
Oh, spring ball is going to be fantastic because essentially your whole roster will be here.
They're going to be young too. It's weird. They'll be veteran in some spots, and they're going to be really young in other spots, and it should be a fun blend, which is going to make them kind of an intoxicating team, I think, for national analysts and certainly here locally.
Yep, Chape, we appreciate it. Good luck. Hope you get good news today.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Thank you.
Hey, buddy.
For people don't know, I don't. It's not a secret anymore. The Schaefers are expecting their first child.
Yes.
So Mike will take some time off. I can't believe I just called him Mike. That's one of the first times I ever called him Mike. Schaefer will take some time off because he will be on maternity leave as well.
Paternity leave.
Is it what did I say?
You said maternity leave.
Mom,
but I knew what you meant.
Yeah, but it's. I mean,
I don't have any kids.
Yeah.
Which Viking he'll name the kid after, we don't know yet.
So I haven't had anybody in my life have to take time off because they have my DNA in them. I don't know a better way to explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paternity leave now these days. Oof. It's
you
no joke. I didn't get it.
What? How many weeks in Nebraska do you get?
Oh,
you're supposed to get. How many weeks do we get for this company? I might go have a kid.
No, you can get. Okay, Gary. This is the catch. You can get up to 12 weeks, but But they're not obligated to pay you.
Oh,
see, there's the rub.
What a radio thing.
So you can still you can take 12 weeks and still have your job, but you're not getting paid.
There's a lot of people going to be staying inside for the next couple of days.
Now, I do know a buddy of mine who works at a tech company. They get 2 months paid for paternity leave. That's awesome. I had to take my own vacation if I wanted to get paid.
Really?
Yeah. And I only got a week, and our son spent
having
out of
sex.
that week,
I was gonna say,
4 days in
you
the NICU.
You get paid to have sex. That's the
Yep.
takeaway.
Yeah.
I don't know about this company,
There
but
was a day and a half earlier in my lifetime where I thought I'd do that for a living.
Have sex for a living?
Yeah.
Probably good money there, huh?
probably the day they told you how much broadcasters make, and you're like, well.
So you spent a day and a half trying to get into porn. I get it.
I remember that class.
I get it.
I was in between like what I want to do for a living.
and that for a day and a half.
Yeah.
Why just the half day?
Well, because we were 21 and there were 7 of us living at 26th and W in Lincoln. And we're like, what do you think we ought to do? Let's get into porn.
Yeah. There's good money there.
All right. I was just going to order pizza, but cool.
One of my roommates, if he would have gone in, I think he would have rivaled John Holmes.
Hashtag blessed.
Dude,
Good for him.
Dude liked to walk around naked.
Oh.
I'm like, dude, We got parents that stop by.
They're like, whoa!
Hey,
what did I just see there?
Kickstand, put that away. All right, verse coming next. Also, Brian Edwards. I don't know where that was going. That's what happens on a snow day.
It went there.
What about that position group, though? 1620 the zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 the zone. And 1620thezone.com. The Connor Happer Show.
Had a bad experience, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to talk about it?
In high school, I had a girlfriend who was trying to change my appearance to be more like Harry Potter. I don't know what tipped me off.
You were like, are you trying to Harry Potterize me?
I don't know if those were the exact words, but that was pretty much the beginning of the end for that.
Wow, what a time.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2. On 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Winter storm warning continues Friday with snow, wind, and extreme cold. Expect an additional 2 to 4 inches to accumulate through the early afternoon, bringing storm totals in the metro closer to 7 to 10 inches. Northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour will cause near whiteout conditions and blowing snow concerns into the evening. Highs in the single digits with wind chills 10 to 20 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-659-8080. That's 1-800-659-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-659-8080. That's 1-800-659-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
At Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands, one youth, one mentor, plus one moment could unlock limitless potential. When you sign up to become a mentor, you're matched up 1-to-1 with a child in the Omaha community. Sign up today at mentoromaha.org.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
How much do you worry about your debt?
With over $15,000 I owe, constantly it keeps me awake at night.
Accelerated debt settlement can cut your debt by up to 85% and in as little as 7 to 12 months.
I could be free of debt in no time?
That's right. Other debt settlement companies can take years to negotiate down your debt, but accelerated debt settlement moves fast.
The sooner I don't have to stress about my debt, the better.
Exactly. In just months, Accelerated Debt Settlement's legal team will negotiate your unsecured debt down 60, 80, even 100%. Your debt from credit cards, student loans, timeshares, medical expenses, and more cut down 60, 80, even 100%. And you'll save thousands of dollars in interest payments.
Finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And a good night's sleep.
Now get free of debt in a year or less with Accelerated Debt Settlement. Just call 1-888-508-8051 and we'll get to work for you. That's 1-888-508-8051. 1-888-508-8051.
The Kansas City Chiefs playoff run starts right
now.
Stick in the pocket to throw. Big chase, and he's sacked. Who got him? Chris Jones! Got him!
Saturday night at GEHA Field at Arrowhead, the Chiefs host the Miami Dolphins on Wild Card Saturday. Pre-game starts at 6 on your home for Kansas City Chiefs football.
Chiefs Dolphins AFC wildcard game Saturday night at 6 on 1620 The Zone.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
And he joins us now. Good morning.
What's up, boys?
Are you in the shop this morning?
I don't even know if this is PC to say anymore, but does a fat dog fart when you kick it?
Yeah.
Can you still say that?
Yes, you
Sure
can.
you can. Am I going to get shut down by PETA? Yeah.
That's awesome.
We are in the building.
It's going to be a busy day, right, for you guys?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
It'll be. We don't know. Basically, I got enough kids that are tough and want to work. I'm sending out messages this morning. I was like, listen, you haven't left yet. Don't leave. We'll probably do this. And then three cars pulled up. I was like, all right, I guess we're not doing that part. We're doing this part.
Hey, but there's, but I will say there's a lot of places that are shut down. By the way, I got to give you some kudos. You know, I'm a big fan. I think your acting skills in announcing that Scott Catholic is closed today were really, really good. And people can see it on your Twitter account. But you delivered the message that there is no school today. Well done.
We did. You know, when you get greatness, two kids from the 308, both residing from Grand Island, America, and one comes up with an idea that he just happens to be a former coach, president, and doctor. And he says, well, you normally do lunch today. Do you want to be in the announcement? I was like, yeah, let's roll. The beauty of it is the script got put together in about 3 minutes. The cameraman got found in the parking lot, who did a fantastic job.
Is that Will?
One of our gals that was Will. One of our gals working, McKenna, she did the artwork in about 30 seconds.
Nice.
And it was a one take.
Ooh, well done.
That is impressive.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, city people, you want something done, find somebody from Grand Island. Not that hard.
You've been living in Omaha long enough.
Yeah.
That you are.
Come on, you're one of us.
City folk.
You're one of us.
Well, it's still 308, and I still go out to the farm. So, yeah, you slow her down there.
All right, so if you guys – is this one of those days, though, you expect people to be lazy? You know, as far as, all right, it's going to be a pizza day, going to be lazy, so we've got to provide for you. I mean, that's all part of the pizza biz, right?
Yeah, but if we didn't have the wind whipping and that kind of stuff, then what we'll probably get tonight is parent that wants to get away from kid.
Oh, yeah.
Had extended break. But today, we'll have a lot of guys that are out busting their butts, moving snow, so we'll gladly help them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many offices had people come in today, if it was going to be a remote work day. So it's just kind of a crapshoot. And as long as my staff feels like they can make it to work, then I'm always down to open. But I just never, if the boys would have texted, nah, man, we can't do this. But yeah, I bet. Okay, then we're done. Yeah. We're not doing it.
Let's jump into a world that I've got a great question here. So Nash Hutmacher went back to the mat last weekend. He is scheduled to wrestle tonight against Iowa. We've had this discussion, and we know there have been quite a few linemen have rolled through Lincoln that also wrestled. There's the Harrison Phillips of the world. He was a great wrestler at Millard West. Does football success equal wrestling success, or wrestling success equals football success?
I think the skills acquired in both benefit each other in the line. I'll take that back. It's in all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You might get a little blast of Country Friday going on in the back room here. Sorry about that. Okay, find me somebody in your life mentally tougher than a wrestler.
Not many. Not many at all.
And more competitive than a wrestler, right? I think it helps kids with the things that they missed out on now, which are those things. You know, there may be another wrestling match later in the day, but that guy, the reason that guy beat you is because that guy's better than you. And now you got to go figure out if you can be better than the next. So those are the things I like about it. The hips and the balance and all that stuff is great. The fact that they compete and they grind and they go at it is, I mean, it's a good sport. I wish I was tough enough to do it when I was a kid. I was not.
Did you ever put on a singlet? Did you ever get out on the mat?
Never put out a singlet. I got asked to help with our heavyweight at Grand Island when I was a junior, Chad Bocone, who's a doctor now in town.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Foley said, hey, can you come out and just, kind of shove him around the guy he's going to wrestle? I've never done this in my life. And Bocone, truth be told, is kind of a D-bag. So I get out there, and he's being cool guy. And he kind of had my knee wrenched in a direction that I did not feel comfortable with. And so that was about it for me helping. I think I double bird somebody and walked off.
Being cool guy.
Hey, how come so you brought up real quickly here. So we know linemen, offensive, defense, wrestling, we talk about their hips or their hands, their fluidity, their balance, things like that. But you brought up the hips. Why does it when you hear, and you don't do this, but others do when they get all, big language about offensive linemen or defensive linemen, we never hear them bring up the parallels of the hips and how much it benefits them and how important it is. Why?
It's hard to quantify and watch and see what it is. Some people know a lot about the game and they don't know how to get that to translate. And they don't know what they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not being, cruel or mean or anything. That's just truth. Some of the folks in there, they just don't know how to watch it. And this is guys at high levels. I was on the internet the other night, and there's a coach that I follow. He's got some good stuff out there. He's like, I just don't get the correlation between wrestling and offensive line play. And I was like, oh, Jesus. I was like, are you serious?
Wow.
He's like, yeah. And I was like, hand fighting, balance, leverage, hip explosion, competition, one-on-one. I just don't understand how you don't see this. You of all people. And he, it is what it is. He's still resistant to it at the end. He was like, I just don't get it.
Really?
Because I think they're two completely different subsets and you're this and this. And I was like, you ever seen these guys shove somebody off and then quickly move forward and shoot a double leg or shoot a single leg? No. I was like, just, what are you watching?
Yeah. That's weird.
So that's kind of weird.
All right. So this may be a nothing when it comes to the correlation there too, but we were all around wrestlers in high school and watching them diet, be very strict, whether they had to gain weight or lose weight, and a lot of the cutting that took place. Verz, could it be an advantage for guys that are going into, especially if they're also going into play, serious big boy football where you've got a nutrition plan set aside and ready to roll right when you get there? Is it more of a benefit that those guys have already kind of been through that, a little bit more disciplined and in tune to their body and how to diet?
That I know where you're headed with that, and I'm in with what you're saying. I just, the way it used to be done was a little sketchier than it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a benefit, but it's also can kind of be a detriment because you'll get some that are like, oh, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And that's not a good way. You're like, I don't think you should do that.
But it worked for me in the past, so I can keep doing it, right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So it's now when they get to, might have broke something there. When they get to the college phase of it, and you have a real nutritionist and a new program, those two, it's easier for the kid to understand the why.
Yeah.
In it, that might be helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, my cousin Nate, like Galen Camroth out of David City is my blood relation. And so I saw his son Nate, who played football at one weight and wrestle at a much different weight. And I'd look at Nate and I was like, that's probably a good reason for me not to do this. And old Nate had to cut some LBs, and that did not look fun.
Hey, how long did it take you watching Monday night to know that Washington could not withstand that Michigan offensive line?
Warm-ups.
I don't think you're
brought a tear to many in Nebraska. For those that doubt that old archaic Nebraska system will work, you just watched it. And again, I like Sharon more. If you had a coach that didn't want to show you how big his brain was, and we're gonna start chucking it all around, that baby would have been 42 to nil, and my bet would have been secure long before it was secure. But we gotta show that we can throw it and we can do this crap. Nope, break their will and then just play with them like a ball of yarn. Like that's Washington knew too. That first drive when they just shoved it up their hoop, sandpaper finish, no spit, no lube. That was done. I mean, it was over.
This is
that needs to be on a national championship T-shirt for Michigan right there.
I stole that from Paul Bissonnette. That's from Biznath. I'll spit and check, but that's his line.
Hey, do you know that him and I spent like 2 weeks together on the same minor league hockey team?
Yeah, dude. And you don't share the stories, and you piss me off when you do that. So,
it's a tease. Yeah, that's minor league hockey, man. There's some stuff that needs to stay in Wheeling, West Virginia.
No, it doesn't, because I've heard all the stories on Spit and Chicklets, and I know you have those stories, and you're just not sharing them. Or your baseball stories, or your other sports you cover.
Hey, Biz was
kind of rude.
Biz was young and very, very immature. He had all this money from the Penguins.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. We acted like it.
They had a squad down there too. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a really good team. He was down just for a little bit. Yeah.
Murley.
Yeah, that was
Murley, one of the greatest hockey gamblers ever. Like if you follow Murley on Twitter, he will go on a heater with like Swedish and Czech and German hockey. But hey, he's gone on in the past year. He's gone on 2 14-0 runs.
Dang!
Wow.
Yeah, and that's not even counting. Then he's got some other like 11-1 like weeks. It's great. If you bet.
Yeah, there. I can tell.
For entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, there were a lot of married women in Wheeling that liked hockey players.
Oh,
and it's weird. Yeah. It's weird when you show up at somebody's house because they're like your host parent and they have candles burning and they're not wearing much, and you're there, and within 5 minutes the husband walks in the front door and he's not there to watch. Yeah. That's probably when it's time to go back to Pittsburgh.
So were both of them down there too? Was Whitney down there too?
Oh yeah. Hey, and it didn't matter. I mean, those guys, when it was go time, they were unbelievable. But off the ice, it was a friggin' gong show that I had a front row seat to. It was fun. It was, hey, my eyes got opened as like little, naive Midwest guy doing pro hockey.
How old were you?
I just did 1 year. I just did 1 year, and then I moved to Florida.
Yeah, at what age were you doing this?
What was I? Late 20s, I was early 30s. Yeah.
So what were you doing?
He was watching.
I was just observing, but not. Yeah.
You did seem to know quite a bit about that one situation, Sharpie.
Well, because everybody talked, like they all would share.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they all had parties and stuff. Yeah. And I was invited as the radio guy.
Ah.
Yes. Yeah.
Just the innocent bystander.
I was. I will work hard to hook up you and Biz.
Oh, hey, did you catch any ricochet shots?
Yes, I did.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
We're speaking. Hey, Verz, we're speaking the same language, my friend.
Hey, Biz says I have another connection to Biz.
Okay.
Friend of mine. I'm good. I will organically meet Paul Biznasty, this and that someday. But a gal I know used to run a bunch of clubs down in Arizona when he was a Coyote, so she knows it.
Okay.
So she said, she's like, you two need to meet. She's like, you'll have a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. I will try and make it happen.
Get after it.
I haven't talked to him in probably 10 years, but I'll try and make it happen for you.
Oh, hey man, but that guy, you talk about a guy that everybody knows you're kind of a dip S, you're the enforcer, you're this or that. That dude just bought land and like he's got a big old ranch now out in a very prominent place, and he gets some stuff done. Old Biz Nasty.
Yes, he does. Verse, thanks. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, now you got to come out sometime and tell me the stories.
I will. I'll be sitting at the bar telling you the stories. Thank you.
Don't be stingy with those too. Let them out.
I know. But we're still on radio. We still have some limitations.
You can watch this. SFMF. Nobody knows what you're saying.
True. Thank you.
I love this.
See you, boys.
Yeah, that's Matt Burzel. Yeah.
Paul Bissonette.
So Wheeling, West Virginia, where I was doing the Wheeling Nailers, Bissonette was down.
I didn't realize I didn't realize you got a chance to see him there.
Yeah.
On the ice, you mean?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But those guys, they played hard, but they partied hard.
That's I don't know if that today's junior hockey league guys do that as much as what you used to hear, even in the Lancers back in the day when I was growing up. You heard stories.
Yeah, the Lincoln Stars were very popular in Lincoln.
There's a well-known, he would have been around.
Ruslan Fedotenko from Sioux City.
Nice.
So in the USHL, he's playing for the Sioux City Musketeers. I can tell the story. It's well known in Sioux City. You had host parents. You had billet families with guys that are in the USHL.
Mm-hmm.
He got to know his mom really well. Guess who his wife is?
Oh no, his host mom.
Yeah,
nice.
So the family was pretty prominent in Sioux City.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you got this Russian hockey player who's an unbelievable player, and of course he had a lengthy NHL career.
Mm-hmm.
Had a kid with his billet mom.
Oh my gosh,
they're still married.
Hey, it was meant to be.
But so Biz was a lot of money. Everybody knew who he was. He was really, really good. And he was very, very young in my year with him. And he got into a relationship with a local woman. He claims he didn't know she was married.
Yeah, I don't buy that. Especially in a small community like that.
So does she.
If it's like a big city and stuff like that, maybe that kind of information you can keep above and below. I don't think it's a small community.
But he was a player, man. I mean, on the ice. On the ice.
Well,
on the ice. He was. I wish his career would have been better in the NHL. And the Penguins, of course, wish that. But early on, man, he could move the puck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was just really, really good on the blue line. But those guys, I mean, I spent time around minor league baseball guys. They were much quieter. The minor league hockey guys, and especially when you're in a community like Wheeling, West Virginia, and everybody knows you're a hockey player, it was a good life. It was a good life. There was a lot of good parties. I learned a lot that year about certain things, about what Canadians do, what Swedish men do. Yeah.
That's why he said it's almost heaven.
There are some stories here locally in Omaha involving she wasn't even a host parent. She was just she was a big fan of the Omaha Lancers, and she had a smaller TV gig.
Really? Who?
I'll tell you off here.
No. You got. Is she still on the air now?
No.
What channel?
This was a long time ago.
What channel?
It was on Fox 42. And there was kind of an interesting twist because she was.
Listeners have been given the information they need.
She was very
as part-time. She was in the rooster costume.
Well, you say that.
Whoa, she got with the rooster?
No, but she was very popular with very popular with kids. She had a kids program.
Oh,
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Now I've heard this story.
Yeah. Every time I think of shenanigans off the ice involving hockey players and older women, this one always comes to mind. Because this is probably when I was like in middle school and I knew about this. Because I was like, when I first started, I'm like, wait, this person? Kids club? What?
Nothing like being around hockey players, right?
Yep. I got to spend a lot of time when the 2 years they were here, and one guy in particular I'll never forget, and my liver will never either, Brandon Prust. When he was with the Calgary Flames organization and the Omaha Starboard Knights were here. Went out a couple times. We went to a gentleman's club once, and we went to Ameristar. And you get to that point of the night where you actually have a shot in front of you, and you don't want to offend them, so you just, as everyone's tilting back, it goes over your shoulder.
Yeah,
I had to start doing that. It was bad, man. It was rough. But Brandon Prust, who was the enforcer, knuckles looked like raw meat. That guy could party. There was one time my brother and a couple other buddies were at a little bar over kind of by Strike Zone. It's no longer there, and called Eli's. And it was a cesspool. The place was. And these guys they're bowing up to us. I don't even know what the hell we did. I think it was somebody in our group might have bumped into one and they got beer muscles or whatever. I text Brandon Prust and said, we might need some help. He was in the parking lot in a matter of 15 minutes, said where I need to go with two other guys. And these guys, as much as you could not keep up, if you needed them and they were available, they weren't on the road or they didn't have a game that night, they were there. Good dudes.
Yeah, I used to think that hockey guys could only fight on the ice. Like if they got into a fight, I saw a guy named Pascal Morency, who was like the fighter on the Wheeling Nailers.
Yeah.
Some guy jumped him in a bar, and it was actually, we had just gotten done with our coach's show at this bar, and somebody, like an hour later, somebody jumped him because they wanted to challenge him because, hey, I watch you and you have 300 penalty minutes.
Yeah, and you see him. A lot of the guys. I mean, they're smaller in stature.
This guy speed bagged him.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So if you ever need a friend,
get
a hockey player.
Hockey dudes are good guys to know.
Guy or girl.
Yeah.
They are good guys to know.
Yeah, Ruslan Fedotenko. They have like a family. They've been married for a long time, but she was married to a prominent person in Sioux City.
Not anymore.
That's crazy.
That's why they called him the Russian Rocket. Brian Edwards coming next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
Looking for a sweet treat that will transport you back into time? Look no further than Ted and Wally's. With 2 convenient locations in Benson and the Old Market, it's the perfect place to satisfy your cravings. Whether you're downtown or in Benson, make sure to stop in. And if you're catching a basketball game, why not indulge in a delicious dessert afterwards? With over 3,000 flavors to choose from, there's something for everyone. Don't forget to check out our social media for daily flavors. Ted and Wally's, serving up nostalgia at its finest for over 35 years. Visit tedandwallys.com for more information.
The GOAT is coming to Kansas City. Sporting KC will host Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time, at the loudest stadium in the world. See Johnny Russell, Alan Pulido, and the rest of your hometown team take on Messi, Luis Suarez, and more at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on Saturday, April 13th. It's the soccer capital of America versus the greatest of all time. Get your tickets while you still can at sportingkc.com.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
The world's on fire. Attacks in the Middle East.
Ukraine and Russia at war. And right here, Joe Biden has created a dangerous threat to every American. Biden's open border policies have opened the floodgates to a record number streaming in, 12,000 in one day alone. This means increased terrorist threats and even more deadly fentanyl being delivered to our neighborhoods. President Trump will change that. He'll secure our borders by building even more wall. He'll end visitors from terrorist countries being allowed to enter. And Trump will treat the drug cartels the same as he treated terrorists who kill Americans. President Trump, the strength to protect our borders and our families.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024, Inc.
Your Omaha Mavericks hockey team is back in action at Baxter Arena as the Mavs take on the top 10 ranked Denver Pioneers Friday and Saturday, January 19th and 20th. Get your tickets for these games and all remaining games as the Mavericks compete for the NCHC Championship. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tigs.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks. Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
I'm former Husker Terry Keneally.
And I'm former Husker Titus Adams.
Titus and I used to sack quarterbacks, but now we're fighting for the children of East Omaha.
Terry and I are on the board of the Q's Fund, which supports the Q's school system, made up of Holy Name, All Saints, and Sacred Heart School, which I am a proud graduate of.
Our students receive a values-based education with the family support they need.
And they go on to graduate high school at a 96% rate.
Learn more about our children at qschools.org.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, thanks for putting up with our shenanigans this morning. It's a snow day. Now brutal cold weather is coming.
It just looks awful.
It's like a day to stay inside and watch sports. Iowa, Nebraska, double dip tonight. Wrestling at the Devaney Center, and then Nebraska-Iowa basketball over at Carver Hawkeye. You got a great game tomorrow at noon. That's a high-level Big East game. Important game for both teams, Creighton and St. John's. That's noon. And then Omaha, North Dakota State at 7. So lots of sports for y'all. And, of course, super wild card weekend. Any upsets?
I mean, they're not a dog. They're on the road. I mean, I think, are we all kind of in agreement? Browns tomorrow? I like the Browns in this one.
That's why I'm going with Houston, because everyone's going with Cleveland, because it does make sense.
The other one, and again, I don't think it's a big upset, but given the way they're playing, I'm gonna say the Eagles get right on Monday. I think the Eagles beat the Bucs. But everything else, I know you got the Rams. I'm going to give the Lions just a slight edge there, but I'm going home teams from here on out.
Underdogs that I'll take the points, but I think one of them, give me 10 with Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin's getting 10 on the road.
Yeah, it's a lot of points.
And then I think the Rams will win outright, and they're a 3-point underdog against Detroit.
Mm-hmm. The Eagles-Bucks line, you've got Philly laying 3. Yeah, see, so not a huge upset. I just feel like a lot of people think that the writing's on the wall. Eagles just are completely broken, and I don't disagree with that. I feel like they show in this one, and then I almost kind of like Kansas City. I don't see them going very far after this. That's just kind of where I'm at with that. But I think the best game is going to be Detroit, LA. I also think Cleveland-Houston's going to be a really good game. Everything else, though, I think the Cowboys roll. I think the Eagles pull away late. Buffalo wins. 10's a lot, but I could see that game being, an 8-9 point affair, maybe 10 points. Maybe they reach 10 points where Buffalo's in control again. This is where I don't put a lot of stock into Mason Rudolph. And the Dolphins, I think, are going to be just the elements itself. I think are going to be really up against it.
Speaking of elements, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, a foot of snow, 65 mile an hour wind gusts.
Oh, good day to run the ball.
Thanks.
All right.
But you said they want to move it to tropical Cleveland?
Yeah, that was a rumor yesterday. There's no way that Buffalo's letting that game get out of their city. All right, weather will be a factor. That's why we'll like the Rams-Lions game and the Cowboys and Packers. Cowboy-Packer will do a monster number on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Be curious to see all the Swifties. Will you buy Peacock just to see Taylor because she'll be there?
Of course they will.
Because Taylor and Kelsey are getting engaged this summer, according to Page 6 this morning.
5 months already engaged.
She should watch in the stands on a piece of foam. What was it? Memory foam and
cardboard.
Yeah.
Yep. Will she wear coveralls and insulate?
No, she'll be
in the box. She'll be fun.
She'll be in the box, but will the window be open?
No.
That would be awesome.
Is she one of us?
Would you gain even that much more respect for Taylor Swift if she decided to open up the window and let everyone hear?
Have her sit in the upper level and be like, that's Taylor Swift. You're drunk. That is not Taylor Swift.
Hey, be safe, everyone out there. If you don't have to be out, don't. The snow is still falling and accumulating. Let the crews do the work. Let us entertain you for the rest of the day here on the Zone. Enjoy ball, y'all.
Connor's here.
We could be with you on Monday and have Nebraska and Creighton ranked in men's basketball.
Nebraska wins tonight. They're ranked.
I agree.
Easily.
All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Make some memories. And as always, live, laugh, love, and punt. For Jimmy, for Nick, I'm Gary. Connor Happer Show's coming up next. We'll talk to you on Monday at 6 on 1620 The Zone.